Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the CWA Trio champions are back in town. Yeah. We had a couple weeks off because, personal lives suck at times. Not all the time, sometimes. So now we're back.
Or they're just busy. Let's go with
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, but sometimes they suck too. Being busy sucks.
Yes.
It
My
depends
busy
on
was
what.
not sucky. It was good
Yeah,
busy.
yeah, yeah. It depends. Depends. It depends.
Guess
It
my wife
definitely
is
does.
watching this.
Yes, don't get her upset now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not trying to get mine either, but just busyness. Sometimes you just need a break from the busyness. But yes, we are back recording another show, and we're here. Since we were busy, what's been going on?
Baseball.
Yes, I saw some photos. You guys came in third place in that tournament. Was that correct?
I don't know. I mean, you could say we tied for third because we didn't play a third place game. So
Okay.
we'll say we're technically tied for third with the team that lost to the other semifinal team. So
Wasn't okay. Okay.
yeah, they didn't play a third place game. They just played the championship. So it was semifinals and then championship. So, but yeah, it
Oh,
started off as it
well, yeah, third
was,
place then. The hell with it.
yeah, third place.
That's how it goes.
um, we started it was interesting because it was not a round robin. I remember playing in round robin tournaments when I was a kid,
Yeah, same.
where you got to have two losses, and you could make your way back into the winners bracket if you kept on winning.
Yes.
Um, but needless to say, my team always lost both games, so we never made it past the second round. So we were pretty. I don't know if we were terrible. I was not a good baseball player. My son is already a better baseball player at 8 than I was at like 11 or 12. So good for him.
Already
um,
doing better. All right.
yeah, but yeah, we've done a lot of baseball. They won their first two games in the tournament and lost their third game, so they got to play quite a few games in the tournament, which was nice. And some of the kids were heartbroken. Kids at 8 and 9 years old crying over baseball was kind of like, oh my goodness, like this is kind of crazy, because I don't think I cried about baseball or any sport at that young age, but you know, it's it was good because they really wanted to do better and they knew they could have, and it was upsetting to them that they didn't. So that's a good thing. That shows that their heart was in the right place of trying to, compete and want to compete. So that's a good place to be. So I can appreciate that. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
but yeah, I'm actually kind of glad it's over, but not glad it's over. Like I wanted my son to could play more, but uh, I had some issues with some of the parents because of my coaching style. Um, so I had to I had to turn the volume way, way down to I'm not really going to talk. So
That's
yeah,
unfortunate.
it was. It definitely was because the kid the parents that got upset and made it known that they were upset is Lucas's best friend from school, and hoping that it didn't fracture him as his ability to hang out with him at his house or him come over to our house. I think it did. It's unfortunate though because that it's not really as big a deal as those parents believe it is. But you know, some people interpret things differently and they hold grudges, and that's fine. You want to be like that. I can't stop you from being like that. I hope you would know better about me, from our interactions over the last couple of years than to say, okay, I'm going to take this segment of what I just saw and judge you for the rest of life, kind of deal.
Fortunately, that's what a lot of people do. Pretty bad.
Yeah, I have a funny story about similar circumstance. So I would have been 11, 12, 13, 14 in that age range. And the
That's
team
quite
that
the
my
age range,
dad,
man. Which
hmm?
one were you? That's quite the age range. Which one were you? 11, 12,
Well,
13, 14, something like
the
that.
reason I must have been 12. Now that I'm thinking
Okay.
kind of harder again, I must have been
All right,
12.
good. 12. We'll go with that.
So the team that my dad was an assistant coach for, the team that I played for. Um, got together with a team from and this is my team was Plainfield Township. They got together with a team from Bushkill and a team from Wingap and put together like an all-star team to play in this round robin tournament. I think it was like in Moore Township. And
Okay.
More
one of the things I
township.
remember is one of the kids coming down with heat exhaustion after he'd eaten a bunch of McDonald's French fries in between games. It's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have eaten all that.
Pretty
Um,
much, dude.
but the the game where and I was there because my dad was coaching and I think I was actually keeping the scorebook for that whole tournament. So eventually they were in a game against a team from Penargil. And so the kids from my team and the Wingap team, we knew a lot of the kids from the Penargil team. We were all classmates and everything. The game against the Penargil team was kind of a fiasco because there were like certain rules about things that you couldn't do during the tournament. And the Penargil team did them, and the umpires basically didn't enforce it. Like there was a rule about you couldn't block the plate. And there was like a couple plays where the catcher for the Penargil team blocked the plate, and they called our runners out when he wasn't allowed to block the plate. And so like there was a lot of like arguing and back and forth and everything. And like that was a game where our team got eliminated, was to their team. So we stuck around though for like the next game, and we were rooting for the team that played against Penargil because we
Of
were just so
course.
mad
Of
that
course you did.
the,
I
the way
wanted to
they
do that
beat us. Because
yesterday.
we,
I would
we,
have done
we,
it too, man.
yeah, we felt they jobbed us. We felt they played chippy. We felt they played a little dirty as you can play in a baseball game. So we were rooting against them. Well, the Penargil team lost. Now, this I did not see, but I was told. After the game, one of the other coaches from the All-Star team that my dad was a part of got confronted by one of the Penargil coaches who was like screaming at him, "How could you root against us? How could you do that? You know, our kids go out." It's a youth baseball tournament, man.
Yeah, chill.
It's
Yeah.
like, were we right to root against you? What the fuck does that really matter? You know, and again, it was because we were pissed because your team played above the rules, you know, and got away with it. So it was like we had a legitimate gripe, but yeah, this guy was like fucking pissed. Now I knew that guy a little bit. He was a complete fucking asshole. So
Hmm.
he
So yeah,
was.
yeah.
He was the kind of guy that if you like had to encounter on like a regular basis, you would be like, can I get away from him? You know?
Yeah.
I hear you
And
with that.
it was for my son's team, it was unfortunate because there was definitely some things that I did not agree with that the other team was doing, like as far as their coaches go, um, like calling balls and strikes. Now, the reason for me I didn't like it is because I'm big on integrity. If you hold yourself accountable, like,
Mhm.
and the coaches call balls and strikes for their team. So so our team was pitching, so it was my son pitching, and he was calling balls and strikes for his batters. Okay, so because there's no umpires at this level, they don't pay for umpires.
Oof, that's
So
bad.
it's well, and both teams do it. So you have to you're calling strikes against your own batters, so that your batters have to adjust the balls and strikes that you call for them. My only problem with that, and I saw it with my when my son was pitching, and then I also saw it with the other kids that pitched that day because we do 3 innings of kid pitch and then 2 innings of coach pitch.
Okay.
Um, is he would call decent balls and strikes. Okay, there was definitely some ones where like, oh man, that was definitely over the plate within a decent range of the strike zone. But he was calling us a somewhat tight strike zone, and most coaches do not do that at this level because kids are not that accurate. These are 7 and 8 year olds. They're not going to be super accurate with their pitches. If it's over the plate or really close to the plate, normally you'll give them a ball, you'll give them a strike because it's right. It's just outside that strike zone that normal umpires would
Gotcha.
call. So there was one right around the eyes that he had called a strike before on one of his kids. He didn't call it a strike this time. And it was interesting because my son had just walked 2 kids, and on the third walk, they get to coach pitch. So he didn't call it a strike, and it's like you called that a strike before, but now you're not calling it a strike, and it's on a ball 4. So now you get to coach pitch. Like,
Yeah, and make it easy for your team.
is that intentional? Like, did you just do that on purpose so you could get to coach pitch? Like, and that was some of the things that I saw is just like that doesn't seem right. Like, be consistent with what you're calling balls and strikes. That's all I ask. You know, that's my only thought. Now, I didn't say anything to him because I'm not the head coach of the team and I didn't want to be. Um, you know, and then when he was coach pitching, it was like lob ball. He's like, here you go, here you go, here you go. Like nice
Of
and easy
course.
pitches, no speed. Like all the kids on our team pitch faster than he did. Like you should at least match the speed as the coach of the kids that your kids are seeing. Like at least match that speed.
Yeah,
And he
you
didn't.
should.
And our coach said something to him. He's like, "Could you make sure you're pitching a little bit faster? Like you're kind of, I don't know exactly how I would have been like, listen, you need to pitch a little bit faster. You're lobbing them in there. Like you're making it
He,
easy for your kids
he
to hit."
he's fucking meatballing this shit. That's what he's
Yeah,
doing. He's
yeah.
meatballing that.
And
That's
and their coach evidently got mad and said, "You're not doing much better." Like, oh, well, there you go.
Yams, fat, and words.
Now, I will admit that there are definitely times where our coach could have thrown it harder, but he was at least consistent. There was times where oops, I didn't get to the plate, or definitely that's one that he didn't throw hard enough. But then there was, he definitely wasn't just meatballing him up there. Would I have, if I was doing the pitching, would I have thrown him harder? Absolutely, because I pitched to my son the day before, and I definitely threw him harder. Like I even asked him, "Am I throwing him too hard, dude?" He's like, "No." He's like, "You're throwing him good," because I was throwing at the speed, if not a little bit faster than some of the kids that he faces.
that's good
Because
then.
how is he going to get better? How are your kids going to get better and be ready for the next level? But anyways, um, there's a rule in our league that in order to get a double, you have to hit it into the outfield and over the outfielder's head. Okay, which means it's uncatch. Technically, they're looking at it's uncatchable. Okay, if it drops in front of the outfielder, no double. It's just a single.
Hmm,
They
Interesting.
wanted doubles on balls that went from the infield on a grounder, infield to outfield. Like, no, that's not the rule. And
So
their
they're
first
hitting
base coach,
ground balls and they want doubles.
yeah, out of like because it went hard, because it was a hard ground ball to the outfield.
Get
Um,
the fuck out of here, bro.
and you go and you hear their first base coach, which ended up being their head coach. He's not even the guy that's pitching, which is interesting. He's like, "That's a double," and we're like, "What? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that's not a double. Like, that's crazy." Like, and it's funny because this is the team over the course of the couple years that Lucas has been part, or the seasons that Lucas has been part of, what they call grasshopper ball,
Okay.
is we've always lost to this team. We have never beat this team because they play that same. They always do that when it gets the coach pitch. It's lob ball. Make it nice and easy for the kids to hit the pitch. You know, I will say this though: when we were in coach pitch, we gave up 5 runs, which is the max you can give up, and that was because of our fielding, not because they were hitting anything special. They weren't bombing to the outfield and getting a whole bunch of runs off of that. We were messing
Okay.
up on our fielding. Our kids had a rough day of
Okay.
fielding, and that's what really caused them to get all those runs. If we would have cleanly fielded the ball, we would have had a lot more outs, and it wouldn't have gotten out of control. So that's that, and there's that, even at that level, you have to,
Yeah.
the expectation is to do your best and try and pick the ball up. If you don't field it the first time, pick it up the second time. We had a couple kids 3, 4 times before they picked it up. Like they bobbled it, bobbled it, bobbled it, bobbled. I'm like, oh my God, just pick up the ball. Like, stop, just pick up the ball. Slow down.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I
So,
so want to get back into coaching in a certain aspect, but then there's times where, yeah, I hear stories and this is like, yeah, I don't know if I have the patience for that.
yeah, I
I
might
just
be,
I just
I'm,
don't know if I do. Because I have a feeling I will lose my patience at one point and then I will get into an argument with a parent or something like that because I'm just like, just stop, let me do my thing. And I just feel like certain parents might not let me do that. So there might be a problem.
yeah. So luckily I might find a home here at the local high school here that my
Oh,
kids go
okay.
to. So we're gonna find out. I should be talking to the head coach sometime this week to find out what the opportunities are and what the expectations are for those spots. So
Hmm, that'll
I'm
be good.
hoping they fit what I want. I'm hoping it is not like a we needed somebody to help out with running practices. and because that's not what I want to do as a coach. Like I don't want to just be the practice coach. Like that's just like I
Yeah.
want to be able to travel to the games, be a part of the coaching staff that's actually coaching the kids throughout the entire season. Like I don't want to just be like, hey, it's Coach Jay who shows up for practices. Congratulations, son.
I
Yeah.
hate that guy.
It's just annoying because
Yeah.
like for me, I don't feel like I'm actually then part of the whole experience that helps get the kids ready. Like that's the way
Yeah,
I
I
feel
understand where
about
you're
that.
coming from with that. You're just kind of like it's like on the like for the NFL, you're the practice squad coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go out there and get our asses kicked by the A team.
You get the practice squad kids, and yeah, you get them ready for the big game, and then you kind of just wait to hear the results when they come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if I was an NFL coach, I'd be proud of that position because shit, that's a step in the right direction. Like you got to go through you got to pay your
Yeah.
dues, so to say, in that level. But
And then
I
you
would
gotta
too.
do-
I wouldn't
and
complain.
then you got to and then you got to do your pays.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but yeah, we'll see. But it was funny. I was talking to our buddy Marlon, and I asked him because he hadn't reached out to me, that bum, and told me that he got the job, his social worker job.
Oh, Jim Thorpe. Yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
I was like, dude, did you get the job? He's like, oh yeah, I got it. I was like, sweet. And I
Yes,
said,
yes, he
now
did.
now you can coach for the school, and put the laugh, and then I laughed behind it. He's like, funny story. They asked me. I was like,
Did they really?
yeah, I'm like, not surprised, like, because that's probably on his resume was one of the things that he did is,
Yeah.
with youth, is coached youth basketball and coached middle school basketball in the inner city.
Yeah, Harrison Morton. Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm guessing you said no because I didn't get a text saying, hey, Jeremy, I need your help with this. He's like, yes, I said no. And then he sent me a message that I thought was, and he's like, if it opens up, I'll give it to you. I was like, what the heck? Give it to me? What do you mean give it to me? I don't think you can give anything to me, but whatever.
He's gonna give
Middle
it
school
to you.
girls, I don't know about that. That kind of scares me. Middle school
He's gonna
girls
give
scare
it
me.
to you, baby.
They're not that bad. Like, listen, when he did it at
I
Harrison,
like how he says that they're not that bad.
listen, so
Listen, there are worse things that you have to put up with, like high school girls now.
yeah. No, to be honest with you, like when he coached at Harrison Moore, and I would do scorekeeping and stuff like that, and then I was always there for most of his games anywhere, because sometimes Buddy wasn't there as his assistant coach, so I kind of just hung around and helped out where I could. So, and you got to think this is Harrison Morton, and the girls in that area, you know, everyone's got like an attitude, so they weren't that bad. So I don't think girls from the Jim Thorpe area will be that bad.
Yeah.
You just got to deal with if they're having their, monthly breakdowns. Yeah, just pretty much that, I would say.
Well, see, my scary thing is because she's now going to be a high schooler. Scary. Um, have had a middle school daughter, and my interactions with her are sketchy at best sometimes. But then again, this is my own kid, so there is a different
Yeah.
level of interaction and
Yes, there's a difference.
Dad, you're a pain in the ass, and Dad, you suck, and everything else that you can throw at me about being a dad of a girl. You're terrible, Dad. You're the worst.
Is she saying those things to you already?
No, she doesn't say them in words. She says them in this.
Okay.
The huff.
No,
The
I
huff
was
and
just
puff.
no.
I want
I
to be
was-
like, what are you, part of Hufflepuff?
I'm just-
Shut up and go to
I'm just-
clean your room.
I was just finding it interesting if you were letting a 14-year-old call you a pain in the ass. That's all.
No, she has said now. I do correct my daughter, but because she has said things of, "I hate you," "You're so mean," and then when she says like the "I hate you," usually it's out of frustration because I'm asking her to clean her room.
Oh yeah, so fucking hard.
Be like, watch what you're saying. Who's the boss? Relax. When it
Tony
just depends on
D'Angelo.
what she says. I definitely correct her. I don't let her just speak to me however she thinks she can speak. It ain't happening in this house. But there are times where I egg her on, and that's on purpose. And my wife hates it because she's like, you're gonna get mad as soon as she reacts to it. Sometimes I do because her reactions are not the reaction I'm expecting. It's usually angry reaction. Knock it off, Dad.
I'd be like,
You
you
know,
think it's so hard here? I'll send your ass to a foster home. Have fun with that one.
yeah. So yeah, sometimes her reactions are not the reaction I'm expecting, but I should expect that because she's a 13-year-old girl and that thinks she's way too cool for dad. So, but
My
I'm always
son,
the best dad when I get her something.
Well,
That
oh, of
she, yeah.
course.
it's not so much that oh shit, I can't remember what phrase you just used and you just said it 5 seconds ago. Um yeah, I was gonna make a too legit to quit joke, and now because I can't remember I can't remember now because yeah, I can't remember how you
She's too
said
cool.
it. The
She's
moment,
too cool for me.
yeah, the moment's gone, so I I fucked that one up. As you can tell, listeners, viewers, we are a little off our game today because we haven't done this in a few weeks. So
And we're all getting old.
maybe you're getting old. I'm getting younger every day. I'm in the best shape of my life.
Which, come to think about, so it was interesting. So, Joe, why don't you finish your thought? Do you remember your thought, or did you lose it?
Oh, I was just going to, what was I going to say?
See, I did it to
It
all
had
of us.
it had to do something with oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. So I don't like when I joke around with Nico, usually it's okay, but sometimes like the issue with him that aggravates the shit out of me is he doesn't know when to stop.
Mm.
Like he's one who kind of like wants to keep it going longer than it should. And then that's what really begins to piss me off. And then she will like he doesn't know when to stop, and I start getting pissed and start yelling, and he just keeps going. And then she has to be like, Nico, you need to stop because your father's about to lose it. Like there's a time and place when to she's like, you need to learn when to stop the joke because after a certain point, it's not funny anymore. So there's times he's done that to me multiple times where I just want to shove my foot square up his candy ass. And if he likes it, I don't care. And if he doesn't sit for a week, I don't give a shit. Like he gets me that pissed. He doesn't know when to stop. I'm like, okay, you need to chill the fuck out.
You've already graduated to using The Rock's catchphrases as taunts to our children.
Yes, it's great.
um, yeah. So just an example. Yesterday, my daughter's so weird. Like she has been fixated on like my son has two wiffle ball bats,
Okay.
and she sits there, lays on the ground, and I'm glad she's doing something, but it's just the weirdest thing. And she'll flip this bat around from end to end and catch it with one hand. That's like her thing. And she does these routines with it. She's like pretending that it's a person and she's doing stunt routines. I'm like, okay, this is like the oddest thing ever. But she's quiet and she doesn't bother anybody. So I'm just like, okay, cool. She's not on her phone. I'm like, cool, you're not doing something. You're doing something that doesn't involve you looking at your screen. Perfectly fine. Well, yesterday it's laying in the living room because she was doing it in the living room. And she put the bat down, and it's one of those old yellow wiffle ball bats. My dad gave it to my son because
Oh,
they had it
okay.
from when we were kids. So this thing's like the good yellow wiffle ball bat, not those terrible ones that they now put out. Um, and my wife
I
looked
wish
at me.
I
She's
still had
like,
my old wiffle ball bat.
my wife saw me look down at the bat, saw my daughter laying on the ground, and my wife goes, "Don't do it." She knew exactly what was going through my mind. She's like, "Don't do it." And I picked up the bat and she's like, "You're not going to like the result. It's going to be bad if you do it." And then I put the bat down and I didn't hit her on the butt with the bat. So,
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Don't do it, it's a trap.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of fun things, did you guys see that they're going to be releasing a Spaceballs 2?
yes.
Spaceballs 2.
Well,
Yes. I'm
Didn't you
and
tell
curious.
us that, Pat? Maybe you were the one that mentioned that to
uh,
us.
I don't think I think Joe might have
I
like
did.
Oh, Joe did. All right.
yeah.
Well, I usually put that on Pat because Pat's the movie guy. So good
Yeah,
on you,
well,
Joe.
so
What up for me? Yeah.
yeah, so this is what's kind of funny about it, I guess you could say. Um, So Mel Brooks is going to turn 99.
Yeah, and he's gonna put himself in the movie possibly as yogurt again.
Yeah, he's turning 99 later this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the original came out damn near 40 years ago. It was 1987. And the funny thing about it was a little late to do a Star Wars parody in 1987 because Return of the Jedi was already 4 years old at that point, so it was like the series was kind of over, essentially at that point. But they still went ahead and did it. And of course, he didn't just, spoof Star Wars. There was like an alien moment thrown in and a Planet of the Apes moment thrown in, and
Yeah.
Lone Star's outfit is intentionally more Indiana Jones looking than anything from Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't just a Star Wars parody in a lot of ways. But what I really also thought it was, so again, Mel Brooks, like I said, going to be 99. For him to be able to do this, I think that's great. Obviously, I
Oh
hope,
yeah.
obviously I hope, he's in good health and everything because, he is a national treasure with so many great movies that he's done over his career and everything. Um, but the way that they announced it too is what was really hysterical because they did it was like it was like the opening crawl thing, and they were saying like since like Spaceballs came out there have been, and it was listing like all the different franchises
Yeah.
that have happened and everything, and they even made references to things that haven't happened yet, like the four Beatles movies that are coming out in a couple of years and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
And
right.
I think they even put that one in with like four Beatles movies question mark.
Yeah, they did.
So it was like it was really
It was
like
funny.
yeah, it was the perfect way to say, hey, we're finally doing it. And again, it sounds like Bill Pullman will be back, and it sounds like he's getting Rick Moranis to come out of retirement to do it, which I think is great.
Yep.
Um, obviously John Candy and Joan Rivers and a few other people who are in the original are not around anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're like, who's gonna be Barf's son, or who's gonna reincarnate Barf,
I
you
saw
know?
something somewhere about Josh Gad being in it, which okay. I'm not the biggest Josh Gad fan in the world,
You
It's like
don't like Olaf? What's wrong with you?
he's
The
kind of a
national
small
treasure.
Olaf to me is kind of a small doses character, and Josh Gad to me is kind of a small doses kind of actor. So, um, you
I
know,
get what you're saying.
yeah, I'll keep an open mind about it. And like I said, I just think I saw that in passing somewhere. I don't know if I saw that that's like really truly official or anything like that. So, so we'll see what they come up with. So all I know is that I hope it's better than that animated series that they did. Um, shit, when the hell did they do that? 2008. Okay. There was a Spaceballs animated series, and I heard it was so horrible that I never bothered to watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even
Spaceballs
remember.
animated series.
I don't remember
Yeah.
hearing about
They
that.
they did like one season that was like 13 episodes long. Um, it aired on G4 and Canada's Super Channel, so it's like I don't even know that I don't even think it got like wide distribution, obviously. But I just again, like I said, I remember hearing that it was really terrible, so I never bothered to check it out. So
So, fun
Hmm.
fact about that movie, when they're doing the combing the beach scene and they're got the giant combs, we're combing
mhm.
the beach.
Yes.
The guy that says, "We ain't found shit." That guy, I didn't realize because they have those big ass helmets on, so unless you're somebody that reads credits, you probably do not know who that guy is. But come to find out, he put like a reel out on like Instagram or Facebook and was talking about how he's been in so many other shows. He was a steady character on, I forget what show he mentioned, but he's like, oh, most people only remember me from is this Baseballs movie and my one line that I had in it. We ain't found shit. I was like, that's so terrible. Especially when you've been on a show for like a show that was like 4 seasons long. Like people don't remember you from that. Like really, come on. Like that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. The actor's name is Tim Russ, and he's probably best known for playing the Vulcan Tuvok on Star Trek Voyager.
Yes, that's what it was with Star Trek Voyager. Yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay. I watched Voyager semi regularly. You know, it was like I didn't really watch it like all the time because it just unfortunately it wasn't as good as Star Trek: The Next Generation or Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, which were essentially its contemporaries. Um, but I never knew that that was Tim Russ in doing the "We Ain't Found Shit" line. I don't know why. Like, I don't think I even really realized that until like the other day when I saw he like posted something saying like, "Hey, I'm ready to come back" or something like that. Like, I don't know how. Maybe it's because he had a mustache in Spaceballs, and like, that was like the only time I've ever seen him with a mustache.
Mhm.
Or the helmet also made him, kind of unrecognizable and everything. But yeah, I just still think that was pretty funny. And I mean, again, it's like it's understandable as to why people will always remember that because it's such a classic one-liner. You know, you know,
Mhm.
because first of all, and of course, the joke is that they're literally combing the desert,
Yes.
and you see like the two people, with, like the two regular, if you want to call it that, oversized combs, and then there he is, presumably with another African American actor, with the little pick, which is kind of like one of those African American stereotype things. And you just explain, you can tell he's just fed up with the fucking jobs. And he's like, we ain't found shit. You know? So yeah, it's like again, I understand why people and the way it just kind of like lingers on him for a second before then it cuts to the next scene and everything. So it's like you're supposed to go, oh yes, this is funny, laugh. Ah.
Oh, yes. It makes you wonder too, like how are they going to redo it and have some of those classic moments like I'm surrounded by assholes moment, you know?
Yeah, that I would have to say is my biggest concern because while Spaceballs is ostensibly a spoof movie, it still has enough of its own plot and enough lines that don't refer on like references or direct parody and everything like that. Well, sometime after I would say Not Another Teen Movie, we got a
Oh
slew
God,
we
that
got a
movie.
slew of spoof movies that were called like whatever movie, like epic movie and disaster movie, which were like nothing but like making references to whatever was like notable at the time with no good reason to do so. Like
Yeah,
they were bringing in jokes about like other things that had nothing to do. As long as they don't veer into that territory, I think they'll be fine. As long as they keep it to like what I guess you could call a more traditional spoof movie, like the like Airplane or The Naked Gun, or again going back to Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. If they stick to those lines, I think
Blazing
it'll end up
Saddles.
being fine.
Look what
speaking
I
of the
brought.
You
Naked
can you can
Gun,
make you can make references to other stuff, but don't go like overboard with it. Like
yeah,
don't bring in references to Marvel movies or DC movies unless you've got like a really good reason to. Like keep it within its own universe.
Blazing Saddles. Look what I brought. Where are all the white women at?
Hey
speaking
Oh, it's
boys,
awesome.
hey boys, look what I got over here. And
s-
where the
speak
white women at? And
speaking
of
of the
course
Naked
It's
Gun,
funny.
that movie's
Yes.
The
come
clan members. So yeah,
that rehash is coming out soon.
yes, the one with
I
Liam
just
Liam
Neeson.
don't
Neeson.
know. I just don't know.
I'm intrigued because of Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
And yet
Doing a
I
comedy?
heard
Yeah.
I heard a couple I think I saw a couple like early reactions to it that said it's not much different from the original Naked Gun. So I'm like, oh, well then what's the point? You know?
yeah. The
Oh,
extended trailer had me intrigued, to be honest. Like the not the
well, yeah,
teaser trailer, but the extended one seemed a little bit more interesting, but I don't know. I need to see like another trailer. I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can get myself to go to the movie theater to see this movie.
yeah, it's like because they just came out with a trailer like I think it was earlier this week, which actually was more than just like that one teaser, where
Yeah,
he's disguised as a little girl infiltrating the bank that's being robbed. Like in this one, it's like, you see him like interrogating a suspect and he's like, I see you did 20 years for man's laughter. And the
yes.
guy's like, I think you mean manslaughter or something like that. And he's just like, well, it must have been a big joke.
Yeah, so he's beating the guy up with the his arms and shit, like that part too. That was the other
Yeah,
part of it.
and like I
Uh
guess like Pamela Anderson's in it and like she's like coming to see him for whatever reason. He's like, take a chair. And she grabs a
literally
chair and
takes a
walks
chair and
out with
walks
it. So
out.
it's like I still always appreciate because that's what the Naked Gun movies did. They always like like took it literally in that sense.
Yeah.
So And there's like also a scene, I guess, where like he's having like stomach distress while he's driving.
Oh
Oh,
yes,
he like
yes.
breaks into like it looks like a coffee shop or something, and he like cuts in line for the bathroom by like pulling his gun out on people.
Well,
And then it's like after he goes, like then the next thing is you see him like eating like a hot dog in the car, and he starts having stomach problems again, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm gonna ruin another soup," and it's like it's funny to hear Liam Neeson say everything, especially with the way that we've grown accustomed to Liam Neeson over the last decade and a half or so, ever since Taken
I've
came
got a
out.
certain set of
So,
skills.
yeah, exactly. So that's obviously what they're playing off of and everything, you know. So and I guess Liam Neeson's become pretty good buddies with Seth MacFarlane, who's producing this, but otherwise I don't think it has anything to do with like he didn't direct it, and I don't think he wrote it either. But Liam Neeson was in A Million Ways to Die in the West, and he did an episode of Family Guy, and he did the really funny cameo in Ted 2 with the the box of tricks.
oh yeah, yeah.
Now, I've been led to believe that tricks are exclusively for children. Now, is that enforceable by law? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that's the only reason I'm really still kind of intrigued is because to see can Liam Neeson really do this and can they make a funny movie out of it and everything. It's like kind of remains to be seen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
There
interesting.
is another funny scene in the trailer where he's like just driving and all of a sudden somebody hands him a coffee through the cup of the through the window.
Oh yeah, yeah, that
Like
one too.
while he's driving, mind you. Yeah. And all of a sudden there's a hand handing off. Oh, thanks.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Um, Another movie that we are getting that I'm intrigued but also concerned by is Happy Gilmore 2 is finally being put out.
Yes, I am looking forward to that, and yes, also of course concerned that they'll just rehash the original, which it looks like in some ways they are doing, because
Right, with
it looks like they have somebody who's like supposed to be the son of Richard Keel's character, for example.
yeah,
Yes.
You know,
Chubbs. Yeah, Chubbs.
well,
Was it
not
Chubbs or
Chubbs.
Tubbs?
Richard Keel was his former boss, the guy with the nail in his head,
Oh,
the big
oh yeah.
huge guy, who
Oh
intimidated
yes.
her. Yeah. So,
Yes.
but yes, it also looks like there's a Chubb stand-in too. Like I can't remember if he's supposed to be Chubbs' son or brother or something. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and evidently he has no hand because he crushes his hand again with the fingers. I'm like, oh
yeah,
man, don't like, and that's my worry is don't rehash. Like, it's fine if you want to have people be the kids of people, but don't make him exactly the same. Like, why do you have to have him not have a hand and you crush his fingers again?
right, right.
You know?
Callbacks occasionally fine. Callbacks constantly no good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they have somebody playing. Yeah, I had hit it off of Frankenstein's foot,
I, uh,
and you
the-
can guarantee to see me in the parking lot.
I watched like the newer trailers they've shown when they've shown more stuff. There's parts of the trailer like, okay, that's funny. I can dig this. And there's other parts where I'm like, yeah, that didn't hit for me. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm like missing some of this. So I am curious to watch it, but I'm also worried at the same time, like you guys. I
And
just
Happy Gilmore has kids in this one. One of the kids, which is I'm just like, really, why? Is
MJF.
MJF. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, that brings us to another topic then too. This story that the Wrestling Observer newsletter put out that WWE asked Netflix to not run any ads for Happy Gilmore 2 that MJF appeared in. Now,
Even
first
if
of
they did,
all,
like they're like Netflix is going to comply with that.
it's the Wrestling Observer newsletter, aka Uncle Dave, who was saying that. Number two, when I watched Netflix, when I watched Raw last Monday night, and there was an ad for Happy Gilmore 2, almost positive I saw MJF in the trailer that was shown, which means one of two things. Netflix told WWE no,
Yep.
or, and I think it's just as likely, Uncle Dave's just making shit up again
Yeah.
or being played by somebody.
Because why would WWE even care that MGF is in a freaking commercial for Happy Gilmore?
Because he's on AEW and everything, and of course people are saying, "Oh well, this this isn't all that unlikely because they pulled Charlotte and Liv Morgan from being in Queen of the Ring and blah 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 blah, and Queen of the Ring had less to do with AEW in any way. And oh yeah, now they're also upset that The Miz is hosting this American Gladiators reboot that's featuring AEW people like Wardlow and Camille as gladiators, even though Wardlow and Camille haven't been on AEW TV since before Trump was elected. So it's like I don't know whether to believe shit like this anymore, because especially if the source is Meltzer, because I don't think he has any real sources in WWE anymore. I think the only people that tell him anything about WWE are people who think they know, or people who are just basically feeding him shit, like the mushroom that he
It's
is.
it's one of the two because I really don't
So,
think he has reliable sources anymore. And to be honest with you, if WWE was mad at the Miz when the Miz was like, "Hey, they're redoing Gladiators. We have two AEW roster members that are going to be Gladiators." Like if WWE had a problem with that, they would tell Miz no, and Miz would be like, "Okay." Miz is a corporate dude. He's
mhm.
he's gonna be like, "Okay, that's fine," and he'll do something else. If they didn't have and if they didn't have an issue with you, apparently they didn't have an issue with it because he's hosting it. So I
Hmm.
don't, I
It's
don't,
more
I
publicity
don't.
for them as him being the host. People
Yeah,
get to see Miz in a different light, and maybe that brings more people to WWE to see Miz when he gets back on TV.
yeah. So you're gonna have a show that has three people, three wrestlers, two are on one program and one's on another one. But at the same time, people know who Miz is. Miz isn't actively wrestling right now. They don't need him. So he's doing his own thing, doing shit for WWE. And this whole spinoff, who's it? Who's or rehash, what do you want to call it? Who's what TV network is this being put on?
I think it's going to be on Prime. Let me check that.
Is it Prime? Okay. So that's I mean, it's not gonna I know it
Yes,
wasn't
it's coming to Amazon Prime. So it's not even on like traditional TV.
it's not on cable TV then. So it's on a streaming service. And it's on Prime. Okay. So yeah, who cares?
And
You're gonna get Prime members are gonna probably watch it. It's Gladiators. It has a distinct name to it. People remember from the 80s and 90s or whatever time frame that was.
doesn't even
Um,
say exactly when it's going to premiere either. So,
but
and yeah, let's just hope, of course, that it plays more like the original American Gladiators that we all watched pretty much in conjunction with wrestling.
yeah,
Hmm.
It was like most weekends, yeah, it was like American Gladiators was on like right after Wrestling Challenge or Superstars. So let's hope it plays more like the original American Gladiators and not the Hulk Hogan hosted reboot that they launched in prime time on, I think it was NBC in the 2000s around sometime.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was Hogan and Layla Ali.
Yeah.
So
Who
I
Hogan
will.
credited with saving his life once.
Anyways, um, it's funny thinking about American
That doesn't work for me,
Gladiators
brother.
and the fact that they're rebooting that again. Um, if either of you have not watched it, I suggest you do Muscles and Mayhem, which
Yep.
is the inside look, so to say, at American Gladiators, the original American Gladiators, and some of the cast members. They interview some of the cast members and stuff like that. So I would
Yeah,
definitely suggest going
It's
and
that
a
was
watching
that was
that.
an
it's
ESPN documentary, wasn't it?
well, there was an ESPN one and there's a Netflix one.
Oh, okay.
Are
Okay.
they just two separate ones? I think they're both separate. You have to double check because I've watched multiple ones on American Gladiators. It's good
So
though.
so I was gonna say you guys have seen it?
Yeah,
Okay. I gotta
Mhm.
ask you a question, and I really hope it's not a spoiler.
it's
Does
a
the
prediction.
documentary partially revolve around that the gladiators were on steroids?
Oh yeah.
Oh, how could you say such a thing? They
Yeah.
didn't they didn't do that.
It's no
I
surprise.
see no
Yes,
steroids being taken.
they do address that and all the gladiators are very open about whether
Yeah.
they did or did not.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, pretty much all of them did.
Yes, I think they all did. Some did it a lot longer than others. And when you watch it, there's I forget which was it the blonde-haired guy with the really long hair was the one that had the real issues when he was taking steroids.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's the one where he kind of went off the hinges with
Thunder, I think his name was
yeah,
Thunder.
with attitude and just being like over aggressive and um there was a couple situations where like they really laid it into like the competitors, the normal people who are competing in this thing. Like I think there was I think they were talking about like, some of them people really wanted to sue the fuck out of them because they had some injuries that they're still dealing with to this day because
Yeah.
of how the gladiators acted towards them.
Well, I mean, there were times I can remember watching that show where you could tell some of the gladiators were definitely laying it into some of the contestants. And of course, when you're watching the show, that's what you wanted to see.
Yeah.
You wanted to see the gladiators fuck up the contestants because that was kind of the whole point. Because first of all, it wouldn't, if it was all about, the contestants or again, they're overcoming the gladiators, you know, so they're underdogs to start. But yeah, again, that's why you watch. You watch because you wanted to see the gladiators fuck up these idiots. So,
Yeah, some of it was too aggressive, of course. And, some of that could be attributed. It's one of those things back in the day, like, everyone always attributes steroids to bad behavior or roid rages. We'll use that terminology, which, yeah, I mean, it definitely can happen. I mean, depending on what you're taking and how much you're taking it and how long you're fucking taking it. I said that shit is real and can happen.
Hmm.
100%.
well, it's funny too because you're saying about like the one guy who was on roids and I guess developed attitude problems or whatever. And I
Aggression
said,
issues too.
well, aggression issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like I was like, picturing that in my head. It'd be like, Thunder, are you taking steroids? Taking steroids, what are you?
Like the next, he's like the gladiator version of Brian Bosworth. For sure.
Well, the reason we're asking is because I don't know if you remember this, and I'm a little embarrassed to ask, quite frankly, but um, you do remember that you ripped that guy's arm clean off at the shoulder, right? Yes, I
So,
remember it is in my trophy case.
um,
Oh
I
man.
think the craziest part for me, and when you get a chance to watch it, Pat, is how much the gladiators actually made
I'm guessing
when
they
they.
made nothing.
Oh my God, it was like dirt. Like
Yeah.
they got paid absolutely nothing compared to what they should have been making as. And it kind of made in a way. I'm not saying it was good or bad, but it makes sense when you're first launching a show. You're not and you don't know how it's going to go. It's a
Mhm.
completely new concept. You're just like, okay, this is what we can afford to pay you. But they never, until they essentially went on strike, and that's when you started seeing all the new gladiators come in.
Yep.
Is because the original gladiators said, "You guys are not paying us enough. Like we're getting injured, we're putting our bodies on the line here, and you guys are giving us nothing for it."
Something tells me they were probably independent contractors.
I forget how it was set up, but it
I
does
don't
explain it in the show a little bit.
I don't think totally independent contractors, but
Yeah, but I guess my point is, yeah, how much health insurance did they have?
I don't think any.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think
So
they really did.
it's just it was very interesting. It reminded me of what we hear about from like the old time wrestlers and how they travel from town to town and got paid $25 to do a show. You know.
Yeah, see, it's funny. It's in retrospect again, when wrestlers of today complain about how they have to do this, that, or the other thing, it's like, dude, I understand you got a hard, job. It's very physically demanding. There's a lot of travel involved, and it's like, It's nothing compared to what was going on when the territory days were going on, and it's like, ooh, thunder. Um, that rare morning thunderstorm. Um, it's why I always get so pissed when Colin Coward would always go on his soapbox complaining about wrestler deaths and calling wrestling fans booger eaters and everything. And it's like all he had was like the list of names of wrestlers who died young, and it's like, yeah, it sucks, and you could say a lot of it's their own doing, this, that, or the other thing, but of course, unless he changed his tune, and oh yeah, actually, this was the funny thing. He was on that fucking WrestleMania 9 documentary that was on Peacock. The guy who like derided wrestling for years, but it's like,
Yep.
yeah, the reason why these guys are dying young because the reason they develop these fucking addictions and dependencies and everything is because of how fucking grueling it was.
Yeah.
Again, this is why it's like whenever I listen to like Cornette and he's talking reminiscing about, or like when they do a segment like, so we're looking back on my May 1984 when I was in Mid South. And Mid South was a huge territory in terms of the driving because it was fucking Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. He's talking about driving 600 miles, to get to the next town. And then the next day they got to work two shows in two towns that are 200 miles away. It's like, I'd go nuts after a week.
Hmm.
Like the 70s, 80s, and even like early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
That was very strenuous on all those wrestlers. All the traveling with the driving, sitting in a car driving hours upon hours, doing the wrestling matches, like you said, one sometimes two shows in one day, two shows on a Saturday, one show on a Sunday, maybe another show on a Friday night. Um, you know, and you hear the stories about some of them wrestling not just like 10-minute matches, they're wrestling 20, 30-minute matches because these shows are only have maybe like four matches. So you're putting on like a 30, 40, 50, 60-minute match. You know what I mean? To please the crowd and put on these shows. So they're doing this over and over and over again. Yeah, I get it. Like when we're young, we don't understand it. But when we got older and like, you hear the veterans talk about their stories and kind of like really understand, okay, this is why this guy became a drug addict and on painkillers and why this one did too and why this person did this. It's a grueling life and it's not easy to stay away from that stuff because being in pain all the time is not an easy thing to deal with. So you want something to take the pain away. It's drugs, sex, drugs, and alcohol, baby. The rock and roll style. But no, it's those guys went through a whole shit ton of damage to their body. So,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. They have an easier life now.
Yeah.
They can complain, WWE is like, you're on the road over 250, 300 days a year, and AEW or TNA or New Japan might be way less, which is great. But you know they be glad that these guys weren't born earlier in their lives and wrestled in the 80s and the early mid 90s.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I really wonder how many days these guys are on the road now because except for like overseas tours, like there are no more house shows.
No.
So it's like,
Which is crazy. I can't believe they did away with house shows.
well, it's because I guess they didn't see that it made them money. Which if it's not making money, I understand. The problem is also is the ripple effect that these people don't get better at what they're doing. Um,
i
and
think i think some
that's why they rely on the same shit all the time. But it's like, so if they're still traveling that much, it's like, yeah, okay, again, traveling that much does suck and everything. But if it's because you're traveling to make appearances, but you're not actually like working physically, then you need to maybe back off on complaining about it just a
yeah,
smidge.
I think the real reason with the house shows from what I read was that like the house shows were a lot of the house shows were like selling out. Like it wasn't like they were able to sell tickets. It's just between the main shows and then doing all these house shows, like all the production that goes into it, the amount of money they were making and what it was costing to doing it wasn't, they were in the red pretty much. You know what I mean? If you just look at that aspect. So it wasn't
Yeah,
helping their bottom line. So,
Well, that
yeah,
just
and
goes to
and I
show
get
you
that.
that the wrestlers and it just goes to show you the amount of money that they're putting out
Yeah.
for the crew that they have and the amount of money that their wrestlers are making now, they can't even support them by doing a house show. Like they can't even bring in enough revenue to support them for a house show. They have to put on big shows. Like if they're not putting on a big show, it's not worth it for it. Which is kind of, in my opinion, sad. Like I understand. Like I'm not saying that wrestlers don't deserve a good salary for the work that they do. The fact that they don't have health insurance and they got to pay that for themselves. You know, because if you've ever tried to pay for health insurance by yourself, it's not cheap. It's pretty freaking expensive.
No, it's not.
Even for somebody that's making $1 million, like it's still expensive, especially in their line of work. I'm sure there are premiums because of the possibility, you know, the percentage of the risk of injury is much higher in their profession, um, that their premiums are much larger. But regardless, like the fact that you can't put on house shows because you're in the red if you do that is really sad to me because that's how a lot of kids get introduced to their first live show. It's not going to a WrestleMania. It's not going to a
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw. It's not going. It is a house show. Like that's how I introduced Lucas to wrestling. And as far as a live show, I took him to a house show, and now I can't do that. I can take him to an AEW show, which is fine. I wouldn't mind taking him to that. But if I had any younger kids that were like, okay, Dad wants to introduce you to live wrestling for the first time, I want to be able to take them to WWE because I enjoyed WWE's house shows. Like they were a lot of fun. The way
Yeah.
that the wrestlers interacted with the crowd was so much different, and it was so usually so much smaller venue that the interaction felt more personalized.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, you know, you can, it's not that, and the tickets aren't as expensive. They're definitely cheaper, and you can have a more enjoyable time a lot of times at the house shows as well, compared to
Yeah.
to like going to a Raw or a SmackDown or Saturday Night Main Event or whatever the case may be. So yeah, it does suck that house shows are like gone away. But, you know, the other thing too, I think the other aspect of that is that there's no house shows, but you know, we have streaming. So you can go back and watch a plethora of material from 2 years ago to 20 years ago anymore. So I could think they kind of rely on the streaming services and putting all that old content on there to be like, hey, what's ECW about? Well, you want to go? Let's go on Peacock and click on the ECW icon and let's watch some old ECW pay-per-views or shows that they did and kind of get let's see what this ECW hype is about.
Yeah.
The streaming services just kind of put all that out there where they can get away with not doing house shows and everything's introduced through the computer or the internet.
This
Streaming
interweb
services.
thing is killing us.
Whoever decided to create this interweb internet thingamabobber,
They've got to be rich.
them sons of bitches ruin everything for us. Oh boy.
Next it'll be the AI technology that's taking jobs away from people. I'm gonna lose my job.
Yeah,
They
you
won't
know,
need
to a
me.
point, I think for certain, it depends. Like the AI thing is very interesting. I think it all depends because it's good, but it's good and bad, and it's not really reliable to a certain extent. It's reliable to do a couple things, but it's not reliable yet to do a lot of shit.
Right. As my boss has put it, we need the human to check the AI because
Well, you do.
you can't just rely on that AI that it's going to do it right completely 100%. Like you need that human person to double check and make sure that hey, this is what we want it to be, this is what it's doing and is accurate. What it's supposed to do is make your job easier and faster, more efficient, not at least that's the way my bosses put it to us because we're getting
No.
into a lot of AI stuff with our jobs.
Yeah, like same with my job, we were kind of using it. We're allowed to use one version of AI. But then our security team backed off on that. And they're like, we put anything AI used like on hold, like no one's allowed to use it. So they're kind of like combing through the AI companies out there or programs, however you want to put it, and kind of seeing like how they work, what their security measures are, things of that nature. So it looks like because we were getting given an update a couple of weeks ago that shortly by the end of summer we'll have like a list of AI utilities or programs we're allowed to use. and whatnot with our
Mhm.
jobs. So it's going to be interesting once we get a list of those and see what goes on with that. I'm just kind of curious to see where it takes us. So
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, it's you think about some it is crazy. Like I see some of those videos where they have the AI created videos and stuff like that, and they're kind of interesting and cool. So it is a fascinating utility to do to create stuff.
Well, yeah, the ones that like the basketball interviews ones are the ones that are interesting me that they use AI technology to recreate the voice and that like the one
Where they're
was it
talking
Kate?
shit when it says
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, yeah.
Like the Kate I my wife was watching one with Caitlin Clark and I'm like listening, I'm like, nah. I was like I looked at her, I said, you know that's AI, right? She never said that. She's like, huh, I don't know, I was just watching it.
It's interesting because when you watch videos like that where they do the AI dub overs, it's their voice, but you could tell it's very like the the way they're speaking, like the rhythm of it, you could tell it's AI because it's not a normal human talking. It's still very like robotic per se,
Hmm.
or not fluent in far as like how a human speaks in that manner. So you could tell that it's like, okay, this is AI shit. Like 5 seconds in, I'm like, yep, this is AI shit. This motherfucker never said this shit.
Um,
Guarantee it.
so speaking of AI, and I kind of alluded to Caitlin Clark, I found it very interesting. Um, and this is about Angel Reese. So she had pigtail braids in the other day in her game. I don't know how many games she wore them for, but uh, she got her hair pulled. Huh. Karma would say you got that one coming to you because didn't she pull somebody's hair in a WNBA game? Or was that a college game? I can't remember. But she pulled somebody else's hair and didn't
That
think anything of it at the time.
I think that was a college game during March Madness.
But it's like my big thing is don't expect to be able to do something and somebody not going to do it back to you, especially if it's in the game that you play. Like if you're gonna pull somebody's hair, it doesn't matter if it was college, WNBA. If you did it and it's a dirty move, expect that somebody's gonna do it to you.
Yep.
And especially, not to say this is right or wrong, but with those long pigtails that she had, those braided pigtails, those are like easy to grab because they were long. Like they were not just a little bit of hair. Like those were like halfway down her back long. Like once again, not saying it's right or wrong. I don't think she should have pulled hair. I don't think that girl that the lady that pulled her hair in the WNBA should have done it. But
Nope.
karma's a bitch, and you can't expect once again that you can get away with something and somebody's not going to try and do it to you.
I have been listening to a lot of WNBA analysts, male and female, from ESPN and some of the other sports shows, right? Everyone seems to be, I don't think everyone seems to be split down the middle of how the women have been acting, if you want to put it in those terms, since, Kate and Clark and Angel Reese came on the scene in college, right? Um, they've talked about some of the other previous superstars like Asia Wilson, um, and I always mess up her name, the girl from New York, Liberty, who played against Steph in the 3-point contest during All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Aneska, however you say her name. Even like some of them superstars, like none of them had to deal with this much drama, if you want to put in those terms, and this much heat coming from college to the WNBA. To be honest with you, the women's game has always been physical for the most part, but it seems
Mm-hmm.
like since college took it to another level with those two and some others, not just those two, Caitlin and Angel, or there's others that go along with it. But like since college has kind of taken it to a next level, the WNBA decided to take it to a next level. And some people kind of like it, some people don't like it. Some people are trying to side with Caitlyn over Angel and Angel over Caitlyn. I think, they really are trying to push this whole rivalry as like the next, Magic versus Bird. And to be honest with you,
It's not even
ain't
close.
Angel's good, but she's not at the level of any Magic or Larry Bird as Caitlyn is there. Angel, unfortunately, is not. She's a good player, but she has a lot to learn. She has a lot to do to get her skills
And
in a better place than what she is right now.
right,
And
and
it's
she's
like
averaging 10 and 10, I think, right now this year.
something like that, yeah. So I mean, the thing about it is too is like so instance, they got their butts whooped last night by the Phoenix Mercury. Caitlyn was I'm not Caitlyn. Angel was 1 for 1. She only took one shot the whole game. She was 1 for 1.
Yeah, she had
She
9 points.
Yeah, so the
It was a
rest were
3-pointer and 6 foul shots.
yeah. So she took a bunch of foul shots, driving to the lane, and getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. I don't remember how many rebounds. It's like she is willing to take on the role of the villain, I guess in this aspect, but I'd still think there's a lot of other nuances in regards to how the whole Angel and Caitlin Clark rivalry is playing out, where some like it, some don't. And I just kind of sum it up to this, like since the two of them got into the WNBA, I feel like the WNBA now, when you watch the games, is like watching 80s and 90s men's basketball. Like
Hmm.
I feel like I'm watching the NBA in the late 80s, early 90s
Yeah.
for how
But
physical they are and some of the shenanigans, like, Charles Barkley kicking a fucking cameraman, Dennis Rodman doing some crazy shit, kicking somebody. Um,
Um, don't you mean Rodman kicked the cameraman?
Barkley did kick somebody as well at one point.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
there was a game. So Dennis Rodman stuff, Barkley doing stuff. I think Barkley spit on somebody at some point too. But all the physicality in regards to all of what you saw in the 80s and in the 90s, that's what I feel like I'm watching in the WNBA right now. Not that I'm mad about it, but I just think like the narrative for it has just been so overblown. It's a bit much. Just like, Caitlin Clark had a game the other day and she got poked in the eye, and the girl Kate kind of came up to her. I don't know what she was saying to her, and Caitlin kind of pushed her away, and then Caitlin Clark got pushed to the ground by a teammate
hmm
and by the girl's teammate. And then a couple plays later, that girl who poked Caitlin in the eye, she went from a layup, and the girl, Cunningham from her team, kind of like grabbed her by her head and like threw her down. And
well,
I was like,
if you watch
whoo, here we
if
go.
you watch that play though, like I watched that play a couple times. I watched that.
Yeah.
I replayed it a couple times. Um, the girl, and I can't remember the girl's name that was going for the layup. She actually
Yes, I know what you're gonna say.
committed an offensive foul.
Yeah.
Like, because she lowers her shoulder more than what you're
Yep.
technically allowed to and drives into Cunningham. And Cunningham was like, I ain't having none of that shit. And she,
Yep.
like, just grabbed her and took her down. I was like, good. Like, you should do that. Like, she's doing an offensive foul move that didn't, evidently was not going to be called because you didn't hear a whistle at any point in
No,
time until she got tackled, like, got brought to the ground.
no.
So it's like, yeah, this player, this woman is playing dirty. Now, did I think that the poke in the eye on Caitlin Clark by her was intentional? No,
No, I
but
don't think so. But
there's no reason for your hand to be going up towards the face either. That's not where the ball is. Like, why is your hand going up towards that area
what
of her
they're
body?
what
So,
they're trying to do now with Caitlyn, and I see this in the NBA too from sometimes. It's kind of like the old school, like, you know, where you play defense and you're trying to put the hand in the face so they can't it distracts them from passing the ball or seeing where they're passing the ball. They try to get a steal. I used to do that shit
hmm
back in the day. So I kind of get what she's doing, but to be like the way she was doing it fundamentally wise is wrong. But nonetheless, yeah, of course, the way you have your hand out and your finger straight out, you're gonna you're fouling her hand. You know she's gonna dive in at some point to try to go under that, and you're just gonna put your hand down, and your finger's gonna go right in her fucking eye. I mean, it's pretty obvious what was going on. Was she doing it intentionally? Who knows? Can't tell. Can't read her mind or in her head at that point. But yeah, the WNBA has gotten definitely very physical in
It's very
regards to
catty.
that. Yeah, I mean, you can say
Maybe
it's
not the right
catty.
word to use, but
Yeah, I mean, you can
kind of
say
seems
that.
that way.
You know, people will associate that with women being catty about being upset about stuff. But nonetheless, I do feel like I'm watching 80s and 90s basketball, NBA with the females right now. Like I said, not that I don't like it, but some of it I think it gets carried. It gets carried away.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
So the interesting thing about her stat line from the 21st is that she only had 2 total rebounds. So she was ineffective totally. Like whoever the Mercury put on her knew exactly how to play her
Well,
and not allow her the opportunity for anything.
yeah, the other thing too was Phoenix jacked. I think Phoenix set a record for like 3-pointers in a game. They shot a shit ton of threes. Like if you check their stats, they destroyed them by like one something to like 87, 106 to 87. Phoenix shot a ton of threes in that game.
In 107 to 86, they beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. So whatever their defense on the 3-point, didn't work. So when everything's going in, you're not getting no rebounds. Plus, I don't know how many minutes Angel played, but at the same aspect, oof, only being able to get up one field goal in a whole game, that's not, yeah, that's a bad game.
Let me see here. I have her stats pulled up. She played 21 minutes. Now that's less than what she normally plays. Normally she's around 32 minutes. 32 minutes. So yeah, she played 11 less minutes, but still, that just goes to show you as a coach, you're like, you ain't doing shit out here. Like we can't have you in the game.
And they were probably getting blown out so bad that you just probably put the whole fucking bench in at that point too.
Yeah, and that's not the first blowout they've had. They have the Chicago, what are they? The Chicago, help me out, Joe.
Sky.
Sky.
No, they've been
Um,
blown out like 4 times this year. They're
Yeah, the
they're
only
not.
close loss that they have was to Washington, where they lost 79 to 72. Everything else has been that's 18, that's 19. The Chicago, the most recent one was 21. That's 12. Like that's not too bad. 12 isn't terrible. But yeah, all their other losses have been double digits.
Yeah,
So they're not keeping pace with anybody.
no. Some of the moves they made to get some of the players on that team, not that these players are bad, but unfortunately, the players they got, in my opinion, I was a little skeptical on because some of these players are like second, third, fourth options.
Like
And
in
the one they made a trade for just to kind of get their, I think her name is Atkins. I think they traded for her. She's a good player. She's more like a second option. They traded her for her to get like a more of a scoring, which I mean, she's leading the team in scoring, but not much else other than that, to be honest. And we just did that trade to try to get a better score and to get one of our draft picks back or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's just it's I feel like they're gonna be worse this year than they were last year, and it's
so and
unfortunate.
yeah, well, and here's my thing that I find interesting, okay? In the I don't know what their pick was in the draft, but they drafted Haley Van Lith.
I think it was like
That was
number 7 or 8.
yeah, that was one of their draft picks. Now, she was the first round 11th pick overall. That
I'm
was
sorry,
that
yeah,
so
11th.
she was 11th pick. So that's a pretty high draft pick for her. And I'm not going to sit here and say that she's not a good player, okay? But she is getting a shit ton of minutes for a rookie. Like she played 21 last night, she played 21, then she played 26, 24, 4 on the 13th and 16th. So there was only one game that she played like less than 15 minutes. Every other game she's 20 or more in every game. That's a lot of minutes for a rookie, especially one that's not producing. Like she's
Yeah, I'm
not
not sure
really
what's going on.
contributing to her current stat line is she's at 15 minutes a game. Um, let's see, rebounds. She's got 1.4 rebounds, 1.5 assists, half a steal, half, zero point 0.2 blocks. Her turnovers aren't bad, 1.5. That's not terrible for her. But she's only averaging 5 points a game. You're giving somebody that many minutes that's only putting 5 points on the board a game. That's their average. And that's now granted, we don't have a big sample. It's only 5 games into the season for them. But still, like,
Yeah.
did you not see anything in college that says this person is not a main scorer? Like, I'm sorry, she is in the overall scheme of things, she was not the deciding factor that was going to make her team win. Okay, she was just, this might seem harsh, but she was not the lead dog. She was not the leader of a team. She was a role player on teams. Like
can't
she
believe you just
didn't
called
take her
her a
team.
dog.
She didn't take her team to a national championship. She wasn't the reason her team won a national championship. Hell, when she joined Angel Reese at LSU, they didn't even win the national championship. They got knocked out with the Elite Eight, I think it was that year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Haley's
So
averaging 15 minutes a game is what she's averaging
yeah,
right now.
so at 15 minutes a game, at 5 points, like I said, her best stat is the fact that she's only averaging 1.5 turnovers a game. That's very low. That's really good.
Yeah, it didn't help
So
that we brought back, Courtney Vandersloot, and she played 7 games and then had she only played 7 games and she's the fourth fourth leading scorer on the team. No one else that's since she had she tore her ACL, so of course she's out for the year. But the people that have kind of replaced her have not been able to reproduce what she has done on the court. It's just yeah, it's kind of a shit show. It's frustrating to watch in regards to that, to be honest. Um, Kind of a segue from Angel Reese. Uh, Speaking of shows, Netflix, the Shaq one with him and AI and Reebok. It's 6 episodes. It's a good watch. I would definitely
okay,
highly
gotta watch
recommend.
that. Okay, I was
Yeah,
kept a
yeah.
little skeptical on maybe watching that
Why
No,
would I want to watch a show where Shaq is in a conversation with AI?
because Shaq's helping rebuild Reebok.
with
That's the
Allen
whole.
Iverson,
Yeah,
Oh, with Allen Iverson.
yeah,
AI.
AI baby, AI.
Yeah, you said AI,
Learn the word, man.
which means something totally different now.
Yes.
You know, it
Yeah,
means
so
it means the thing that's going to kill us all.
yes. So it is good. So when you watch it, it seems like Shaq he has a business partner, I think, that helps him with a lot of his other stuff. And he's been bugging him to buy Reebok for like 10 years because who was it? Adidas bought Reebok, I think it was. Adidas had bought it and they kind of
That explains a lot.
and they kind of, Reebok kind of went downhill after Adidas bought them. So Adidas was putting them up for sale. Shaq and his business partner called him, hey, they're willing to sell Reebok. So they bought Reebok. Shaq became president of the basketball operations. Allen Iverson is the vice president of the basketball operations side, and they have a small team. And Shaq's son Shy is on there as well, and they talk about him because I
His
forget
name is
about him.
Shy.
I think it's Shay.
He's a little shy.
I might be saying his name incorrectly. I apologize if I am. But it's like SHAI. So Shy.
Again with the AI.
Yeah. Like Shay Gildress, like Shay. I mean it's probably Shay. It's probably Shay O'Neal. Probably it's not Shay. My apologies. But anyhow,
Shawshank Redemption. What?
I forgot that his son
Bob.
I,
Shawshank Redemption.
I forgot that his son also had a heart condition and had to go through heart surgery. And it kind of prevented him from continuing his basketball
Like Bronny.
because of that. Yeah. But you do see at the end of there that, the Sacramento Kings give him a workout and he actually makes the makes the team. I think to go to G League, I believe. But with that being said, it's cool. Like Shaq, I've seen other stuff with Shaq. Like he really is a down to earth, nice giving dude. Like
Hmm.
he is really a family man and all his stuff. Like I was very impressed with the show. Allen Iverson is Allen Iverson. He's, he seems to be very humble as he's gotten older too. But it
As long as you're
shows
not
you,
talking about practice.
yeah. So it talks about, one of the guys that's like the CEO now used to be, he worked his way up over 30 years when he was like, you know, doing a shitty job for Reebok and worked his way all the way up to a CEO. So they're working together with him. You see how they want to bring Reebok back to basketball, and they showed like each episode. So that what they're trying to do is get specific athletes signed to the Reebok brand. And Angel Reese was, I think, they don't, you kind of tell that she was the first one that they had signed because they want to do like a WNBA person, an NBA person, someone that's in college, and then someone who's in the G League. So they kind of like they go through the process and they interview people. They show you like the kids and the girls that they interview and who signs, who doesn't sign. Um, and it's really cool stuff. And it shows Shaq, his family, a little bit of his family life. It goes through the whole process and the shoes they're recreating. And it shows you a little bit of that. But yeah, at the end of the day, the last episode they show you all the athletes, and they I think it was last year's WNBA All-Star game where they introduced um the new shoe. But I think there was a game. It was the last game of last season for the WNBA where Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark had a game, and Angel Reese wore the new sneakers. Um, and then you talk about how they give her own shoe line and all that jazz, and some of the other players, and they do photo shoots. It's just really cool journey, and it's really well made. It's a good like docu-series. It's like 6 episodes. It's about maybe like an hour or so for each episode, but it's good. It's a good watch.
Nice.
Somebody at my
Yeah.
parking lot's got an oversensitive car alarm that's now going off for the second time in an hour.
Nice. So yeah, no, that's something I'll have to, now that you mentioned it, I'll have to definitely watch.
There's a part in there too where they go somewhere, and I don't remember if it was one of the families that they were trying to recruit a player, and he said like, go ahead, pick sneakers you want. And like Pete, they're like, make sure the Reeboks, joking around. So some of them are grabbing Reeboks, and one of the kids grabs Jordans. He goes, Jordans? He goes, no, it's okay, you can keep it. I'll get those for you.
Yeah, it's funny. We were walking through Walmart, and my son goes, "Whose shoes are those?" I said, "Those are Shaq's." He's like, "Who wears Shaq's?" Or so why? Oh no, why are they here? Why are they at Walmart? And I said, "Well, because Shaq has always put out. He's always for ever since he got his first shoe deal, even once that he was done playing. I said he put out his own shoes, like, and he always made them cheap because he wanted kids to be able to have affordable shoes that were a basketball shoe. I said that's why they're here, because they're an affordable shoe for kids to be able to, because everybody's like, "Oh, Shaq shoes, those are junk." Whether they're junk or not, he purposely, like, just to show how good of a person that Shaq is, he purposely made a basketball shoe with his name on it, endorsed it, produced it for kids who don't have $120 to spend on a basketball shoe.
Yeah, 20, 50, $200. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
So
he's
I
that
always
type
thought
of
that was
person.
really cool
Oh yeah.
of him. So,
Yeah.
all right. With that said, I've got to drop off. I've got family stuff I need to do, and I need to be out of
You
here in a half hour. So,
you go do that. Me
That,
me and
that's
Pat.
I'll
yeah,
just
hold
say,
down the forts
I'll just say that's very interesting
because we got two of them.
that your son already knows that Walmart equals cheap.
Yes, he does. And that's probably because of us. But we are not afraid to shop at Walmart because we are cheap people.
You've
Um,
poisoned his mind.
we need affordability over Gucci. Okay, I don't need a
Hey,
Gucci bag.
listen,
I need a
Wal
Walmart bag.
No, I got you.
Walmart sells Reebok, and they have some good Reebok products there, like the shorts and the t-shirts and the hoodies. So I'll buy Reebok shit there instead of going to a Reebok store. It's
Yeah,
cheaper.
yeah,
It is
absolutely.
it is kind of amazing though to think of like Reebok as being cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen. Until next week or whenever
Yes.
we get a chance to get together again.
All right. Peace out, brother.
Bye.
Just the two of us, like it should
Oh,
have been the
good.
whole
He's
time.
gone. Now we can talk
Yes.
about things that matter.
Oh God, I know. Oh, for the love of God. Woo. Lord,
Uh,
we're only
so,
kidding people.
so here's something I want to. Now, I obviously have not been following the NBA Finals for two reasons. One, the Knicks got beat, and two, I don't have live television right now.
Gotcha.
Um, I will keep saying that until I get live television back. Um,
I don't have
I
live
saw
TV.
s- I saw something. I think it was like a email I get from the Athletic, which I really need to tell the Athletic to stop sending me the emails. I check the site out regularly enough. I don't need goddamn emails about. Anyway, it's saying something about could we see the worst NBA champion ever? And it's like obviously they're referring to if Indiana wins because you wouldn't call a 68 win team one of the worst champions of all time. I mean that's an 829 winning percentage for Christ's sake. Um, And yeah, Indiana went 50 and 32, which is 610, but of course, that was fourth best in the East and it would have only been tied for third best in the West. So I was curious. I said, where would that rank record wise? So, worst teams to win the NBA championship.
Okay, let's get into it.
There have only been 8 teams in NBA history to lose 30 or more games and then win the NBA championship. Here they are. The 2006 Heat and the 79 Supersonics. For those of you in the audience who are too young to remember, that is now the Oklahoma City Thunder.
The 2006 Heat had over 32 losses,
No, they went. These are teams with 30 or more losses.
30 or more losses.
So the '06 Heat and the
Holy shit.
79 Supersonics both went 52 and 30.
Okay.
The 1958 St. Louis Hawks went 41 and 31, obviously a shorter schedule.
Yes.
The 77 Trailblazers went 49 and 33. The 69 Celtics and 75 Warriors both went 48 and 34.
Wow.
The 95 Rockets went 47 and 35. I forgot that they had such a mediocre-ish record.
95. God, I'm going to maybe want to look at who had the best records in 95 then.
Well, all I remember is, of course, they were the defending champions, so it wasn't really strange to think of them as being in the finals again.
So that would
They swept the Shaq Penny Magic in the finals.
that
So,
was that the 94-95 season?
yes. And then the team that did have the worst record in terms of most losses, and I believe, yes, they also had the worst winning percentage to ever win the NBA title. The 1978 Washington Bullets went 44 and 38. So again, those are the teams that had 30 or more losses. Now, other teams that had winning percentages that would have been around or below the level that this year's Pacers are at. The 56 Philadelphia Warriors were 45 and 27. The 57 Celtics were 44 and 28. The 52 Minneapolis Lakers were 40 and 26. The 51 Rochester Royals were 41 and 27. The 55 Syracuse Nationals were 43 and 29. And then it's all the other teams that we mentioned. So
Yes,
it's like,
that was the year Jordan came back. So
yeah, yeah. But so it's like,
wow.
the Pacers would be one of the definitely on the lower rungs in terms of winning percentage and um most losses to win an NBA championship. But I'm not so sure that leaping to say that they would be the worst champion ever is necessarily fair. I
No, it's not fair.
and the other reason I'm saying that too is because in the last 5 years, if you're looking at worst champions by winning percentage, okay? In the last 5 years, you had the 21 Bucks who went 46 and 26 in a slightly abbreviated season thanks to COVID. And then the 22 Warriors and the 23 Nuggets both went 53 and 29. That's only 3 games better than what this year's Pacers are. Maybe I missed it. I don't remember anybody speculating that the Warriors from 3 years ago or the Nuggets from 2 years ago were going to be like the worst NBA champion ever. So I I, I don't know. You follow the NBA more than I do, so I wanted to throw this one out there.
I think that's just unfortunately because of the record. I think they're just trying to create a storyline
Okay.
because I mean, you just gave the 8. So, those are the teams that haven't had a, 62-20 record, or, 59-23, or, something to that effect, 60-22, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's that plus, Indiana was in the conference finals last year. Like, this team is good. Like, they had some struggles during the course of this year. I think they had a couple injuries, some games they should have won and they didn't. It's kind of how the course of this season is going, with a lot of teams blowing leads, blowing double-digit leads and making comebacks, and kind of shitting the bed in that aspect. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's kind of a story. I feel like they're trying to create a story because we don't have the quote unquote usual teams in the NBA finals. And they're trying to create some type of other storyline, which I think is just really unfair to whoever wins the NBA title, if it's Indiana or Oklahoma. I haven't looked at the ratings because they're like, oh, it's probably going to be one of the lowest viewed games, it's NBA finals in history. I don't think so. Halliburton is a rising star. Shea is a rising star, if not one already. It's two teams that are young teams that have a couple vets here and there, but basically young teams that are balling out and playing really good basketball. I mean, look what Indiana did in the East. No one really. I picked Indiana to get the Eastern Conference Finals. I'd put a bet on it. You know, they went to it last year. I think people overlooked them a little bit, but it is what it is. So they made it to the NBA Finals, and they're a game away. They took it to 7 games. I was very disappointed in Oklahoma City the other night when they played in Indiana. I felt like it's a game where, like, Indiana came out and punched them in the mouth, but Oklahoma City didn't come back and punch them back. Like,
Yeah,
they got punched, and they were like, "Oh man, what do we do? We don't know how to come back." And they made some silly mistakes, silly fouls, made some dumb decisions. The timeouts weren't working, and it's just kind of like they were just going through the motions. We're gonna play and kind of make it tough for them, but even though we're getting our asses handed to us, like, for me, being a former coach, and even if it's youth, you still have that mentality. Like, there's got to be a point where the coach is like, "Listen, you guys want to be fucking NBA champions or not?" Like, end of conversation. Like, do you want to win this game or not? Like, I feel like they kind of just gave up, let just whatever happened happen. Like, oh, we have game 7 in our home court. Well, god damn it, anything can happen on your home court too. You could lose that game. You want to take out a team as soon as you can, not sit here and have these shit games when you're getting your asses handed to you and whatnot. So yeah, I was very disappointed to see, like, how Oklahoma City played that night. I thought it was really bad. But
yeah.
we'll
I was
see what
out at
happens tonight.
I was out at trivia on Thursday night, and we are at Molly's in Bethlehem, and
Okay.
so I was in full view of the television and everything though. But yeah, it's like it looked to me, again, I wasn't completely paying attention to it, of course, but it looked to me like Indiana took a lead early, and it looked like they just dominated. Like, it looked like
Uh-huh.
Oklahoma City never really like challenged. It almost looked like they were content to just go, well, we'll keep it respectable-ish, but we're not gonna like go all out to win. Almost as if they were like saying to themselves, "Oh, we'd rather win this in front of our home fans." And it's like, yeah, that's nice and all, but you really want to leave it to anything that could go wrong in a game 7, you know?
Yep.
It's just that's not the way you win championships. I mean, hey, the greatest baseball team of all time was the 1998 Yankees. They swept the World Series, which meant that they won it in San Diego. So
Yeah.
the home fans didn't get to celebrate with, the greatest team of all time clinching the championship.
You got to do what you got to do.
I'm pretty sure the Yankees were much happier to just be done with that series in 4 games than rather than have it go 6 and go back to New York.
Yeah. You don't want to give that chance. Real quick to backtrack, that Houston team that went 47-35, they
Hmm.
were the 6th seed
The
in the
sixth
in
seed.
they were the 6th seed. They beat,
But again, they were the defending NBA champions,
yeah, and of course, they beat um
much to my
Utah.
chagrin.
They beat the 3rd seed Utah, who was 60-22, 3 games to 2 when it was 5 games at that point. The next round, they beat the 2nd seed Phoenix Suns. They went 7 games, 4-3. Phoenix was 59-23. I think this had something to do with division titles. They were the two
Yeah, I was gonna
seed.
say I think so. Yeah.
And then in the Western Conference Finals, they beat the 62-20 San Antonio Spurs 4 games to 2.
So you can't say they didn't earn it.
They definitely, and then they, swept the number one seed on the East, the 457-25 Orlando Magic.
Yeah, which was the Shaq Penny Magic.
Yeah. So like they definitely earned that. They definitely earned it. 100%. That's crazy though. Like I was like, oh shit. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the year Jordan came back. I was like, wow, they really, that's what they did. I was like, holy shit. That is crazy.
Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. It's like because the Stanley Cup Finals just happened, and
I wanted Edmonton to win that series,
oh,
but
I definitely did too. Fuck Florida. Yeah,
um, but Florida has just that team is good.
yeah,
Like you
but
have to
yeah,
you
again,
have to play perfect against Florida right now for that the way that team was the small trades they made um to make that team like take it to the next level. That team was just tough. They were
yeah.
just
But again, Florida went 47, 31, and 4, 98 points. That was fifth best in the Eastern Conference. And there
they
were,
started slow.
yeah, and there were, excuse me, six teams in the West, including Edmonton, who had more points than they did too. I don't think I saw anything with people saying, "Is this the worst Stanley Cup champion ever?"
Yeah, no, because they of course they won the Stanley Cup last year. And so
Right.
they're still favorites to win. And from Florida, they started off slow and they made trades at the deadline that gave them the boost to have they had a better second half of the season, which just continued to go on into the playoffs, man. And they just dominate. I mean, they went to the stand. Here's the other thing too. They're not going to say that because they've been to the last three Stanley Cups. They've won 2 out of 3 Stanley Cups. So they've been to the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row, I believe. They lost the first one, then they won last year, then they won this year. So yeah, I see where you're going with that because you could say the same thing record wise, but since they're the defending champions, they're not gonna throw that narrative out there. You can kind of see how one sport is different from the other in certain aspects.
Yeah, and I do remember seeing something about the Stanley Cup ratings being low and lower than the Four Nations, which that would actually concern me a tad if I was the NHL. Like, great, I'm glad the Four Nations did well, but it's like I don't want it to outdraw the fucking Cup Finals.
Yeah, yeah, definitely
But
not.
I'm like, what did you reasonably expect when you've got two third place teams and one of them's a Canadian team and the other one is from the hockey hotbed that is Miami? Even if they are the defending cup champions and Miami is a sizable media market, it's still winter sport in warmest of warm weather cities.
Yeah,
So it's like, well, that's what happens.
yeah, absolutely.
So I just always find this stuff. Oh, great.
What's
Well, the Yankees are playing the fucking 11:30 game today, and they are off to a terrible start after they've had a very terrible week.
Oh, it's only 2-0 top of the first.
Well, it's just the fact that it's top of the first and they're already down 2-0. And let's see, the here's the beginning of the game. Single, hit by pitch, um, picked off the runner at second on a play that was challenged. Walk, so replacing the runner that you just got out. Single to score a run, fly out, double to score another run.
Hmm.
And it is against an Orioles team, of course, that has largely forgotten how to hit the ball this year.
Yes, they have.
And Rushman's on the DL now, or the IL. I'll do that until I die. I'll keep referring it to the DL instead of the IL.
Yeah, just changing the names is kind of silly. Whatever.
Yeah.
It is
I
what
mean,
it is.
it does make more sense when you think about it. I mean, whoever coined the term disabled list was really an asshole when you come right down to it.
You're disabled.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
It's like, you were unable. I don't know. Fuck. Anyway. Oh, yeah, but oh, yeah. So I guess AEW did good ratings for their Mexico show, which, yeah, good for them. Um,
Yeah, I mean, Mexico is a good place. Here's the thing. I got asked a question a while back if I thought, you know, WWE purchasing AAA was going to hurt CMLL. No, it's not.
I
It's
don't see.
Mexico.
I
It's
was gonna say I
Mexico.
don't see how it
No.
would. The both organizations have existed concurrently. It's like, could WWE? Because again, remember, they're under a corporate umbrella now and everything that is about maximizing profits, which also means minimizing costs.
Mhm.
Are they going to go all out to spend money to put CMLL out of business the way that Vince went all out to put every territory out of business in the 80s? I don't
No.
really think so.
No, I don't think they're worried about I don't think they are in the mode of trying to put somebody else out of business. People are kind of like, well, WWE, it's going to get eyes on the brand. Not people, people are, aren't going to watch CMLL as much because they don't do a good job promoting, those wrestlers on AEW products, blah, 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 blah. The whole
Well, I mean, they do
tribalism.
just tend to just show up, and it's like,
Yeah, they
oh
do.
yeah,
And I mean, the tribalism is there, but yeah, they got a point with that one. They don't really do a great story. The commentators talking about some of these Mexican wrestlers to kind of give them a little to kind of get the fans invested into them, especially the ones on TV. But I just looked at it as like, no, CMLL is gonna be fine. I mean, you watch the show. The show was sold out um with the AEW crew showing up with that. They had good matches. It was pretty much more a luchador style type of stuff, which is fine because a lot of AEW wrestlers can do that stuff. And then I guess after I think it was the other night, Daniel Bryan showed up after the show was over. Whatever happened at the last match,
who?
Daniel Bryanson's music. Yeah,
Who?
Brian Danielson, where the fuck his name is anymore. I don't give a shit.
No, I'm legitimately asking who that is. I don't know who that is. Is that
Brian
some
Dan.
broken down guy who sounds like an idiot all the time now?
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Um, so he showed up and some other wrestlers came out to fight some other wrestlers in the ring and whatnot, and the fans went ape shit. So kudos, cool moment. It was a good show. I enjoyed watching it. But yeah, they had good ratings for it and good for them. I think for like this year, I think AEW programming has gradually gotten better over the course of the year. Um,
I'm
there's
hearing people
still
saying that, and I can't say for sure myself because I'm not watching constantly or really at all right now again, because I don't know if you heard me the first time, but I don't have live television anymore.
yes.
Um, but that does remind me, I triggered
You
somebody.
can watch them live on Max.
No, I don't have my Max subscription right now either. So
Oh my God.
yeah, that I will have to reactivate sometime soon though, especially when Peacemaker comes back. But
Yes.
um, no, I set somebody off pretty good earlier this week when I said, I'm not really following it right now because I don't have access. I said, but I said I don't know if I agree that their programming has been so much better, that their story has been so much better. And then, let me pull it up real quick just because.
The programming overall has gotten better. Some stories have gotten better. Some stories are still where they're at, make no sense, whatever the case may be. Um, but the overall programming from the start of 2025 till now is gradually definitely gotten better. I can say that sometimes the AEW shows programming has been better than some of WWE's programming that they've put on. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I definitely am not going to get, oh, like WWE has been fucking on fire this year, because they most certainly have not.
no, they've been
Um,
very up and down.
yeah, it's. I frankly would say more down than up, really. There's not a lot that's exciting. I mean, it's a slog to sit through those shows, you know.
It's become very promo driven. Like there's a lot of promos and stuff like that, and the
And
wrestling kind of just feels like it's plays second fiddle.
and
So it's
it,
hard to get into the matches.
and it's not just that it's been promo driven. It's been 20-minute promo driven.
Yeah, yeah, the long promos.
It's like I almost feel like we're back to like, peak Attitude Era when like almost every show would begin with either Triple H or Vince coming out and talking endlessly.
Yeah.
Because then like, Rock would come out and Foley would come out and Undertaker would come out and whatever face at the time would come out and they would just they'd set up shit for later in the show or whatever, but it was like it was still a little bit like, there was still that, tonight you know that we always have made fun of for 25 years. Okay, so on a Facebook group called the Pro Wrestling World, a guy said, a year ago I would have told you WWE is by, this was the original post, that WWE is by almost every measure the better show to watch. But what about now? Well, to be frank, except for anything involving Moxley, AEW is the better show. They have better matches, they have better stories. Let me be clear, they have better stories, all caps.
Uh, uh,
And then
um,
blah, 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 blah,
mm,
blah.
Still
So I
not
just
buying some
posted
of
a
that.
comment where I said, I'm not following AEW that closely, especially since I don't have access to them right now, but the last time I watched, I couldn't say that their stories were that great. I appreciate the consistency with keeping Page and Swerve as adversaries, but Osprey telling them, we've got one shot is really silly because, what, Moxie's never going to defend the title again if you don't win?
I know,
Raw?
right? Yeah, the whole one shot thing was a little bit off for me.
Yeah, the MGF Hurt Syndicate stuff is okay, but other than that, I don't think their stories have gotten any better. But WWE is definitely slipping right now. Um, so a guy replied to me, every storm story involving Tony Storm is money, and her and Monet have a good lil back and forth going RN. I hate people who do that. Kenny Omega versus Okada is happening at All In, and I'm unbelievably hyped for it personally. He didn't type I'm, he typed im. Osprey lost to Hanger Clean. That's why he has in this mode, then an apostrophe. He knows Hangman is the better man, RN, and is putting all his eggs in that basket. Things are pretty good, RN, man. Look,
Right now, brother.
I understand that typing something you can abbreviate, but I'm sorry, typing RN instead of right now is kind of the epitome of laziness to me. It reminds me,
It
even though
is.
it's different, of when on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Captain Holt learned that BRB stood for Be Right Back, and he said, "Why would you bother to abbreviate it? It's the same number of syllables."
BRB. Be
But
right back.
right, well, I'm just like, if
Yeah.
somebody said RN instead of saying right now, it's the same thing, same number of syllables, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so because he replied to me, I felt I owed him a reply to what he specifically.
Of course you
No,
did.
no, no, no. But again, I don't think I got dickish with it. Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted
Okay.
to say, okay, that's what you like, fine. I mean, I don't, and here's why. I just said I'm not a fan of Tony Storm's character. It's the movie snob in me. I've never been much of a fan of Mercedes. Omega and Okada are both past their prime, and as someone who doesn't follow Japanese wrestling, what I've seen of Okada and AEW hasn't impressed me. Hangman is an upper mid carder. He should not be world champion. Glad you enjoy it though. That's all that matters. And
Oh, that's
that
fine.
is the tone in which I meant it. I didn't mean it in glad you enjoy it. That's all that matters. I
Yeah.
definitely did not mean it that way. He replies to me, do you enjoy anything, or are you just a bitter human being that critiques everything and goes into every situation expecting to hate it? Now, as much as I'm trying to prevent myself from getting involved in these conversations that are obviously going to go nowhere,
Yeah, it's going nowhere.
I felt that that one needed a reply. I said all that matters is you enjoy it. I wasn't being sarcastic. I know it's impossible to read tone over the internet, but don't assume things. He said, am assuming nothing. Every good thing I mentioned about AEW, you had an argument for why it sucks, LMFAO, instead of being like, this could be good. You shit on it all. Laughing face, laughing face. All power to you, brother. And I just replied, yeah, I mean, why would I say this could be good when I don't like any of those people?
I mean, yeah, yeah.
My opinion doesn't mean anything to anyone but me. You replied to me. That's the only reason I replied to you. I'm not knocking your opinion or getting personal the way you did. He did not reply to me,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because I kind of would have liked to see. Maybe he realized it was also futile, or maybe he just realized he didn't have anything else to say. I don't know. I also had somebody else reply to me. Then he quoted, "I'm not following AEW." Then cut off the rest of my quote, and end of the story. How the fuck can you judge their stories if you don't watch LMAO? I did pretty much specify when I was watching, didn't I, in my original
Yes, yes.
post? You
When
know,
I was
like
watching,
I get reading comprehension is hard.
I know people don't, people read, but don't. It's like the phrase, you hear me, but you're not listening to me. Like they're reading, but not comprehending. They're not comprehending what you're writing.
Right, is people say like, "Oh, I can read 100 words a minute" or something like that, or whatever. However, I mean, I might be saying mixing
Or
up.
they're just picking out what they want to read from your comment, and everything else is just, blurred.
Yeah, so again, I wasn't really. I definitely wasn't trying to be a dick. Again, AEW just. I've said it again. I just don't care for it.
I mean,
I
hey,
don't
Chris
like.
Jericho's not on TV for a while, so that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, that's been about the only good thing. But it's like again, I hate Moxley and his group, and I tried to have somebody explain that one to me the other day. I wish I could find that comment. I
There
mean,
is no explaining it.
well, he gave an explanation that actually, frankly, made a little sense, and I just basically told him, I said, "Yeah, now see, if only they had made these things that you're saying clear on air, which I'm telling you, in my view, they have not." And I said, "That's the problem, you know."
They've never made anything clear on fucking TV with that group.
Well, this guy was saying he wants AEW to be remade in his image, and he doesn't like the same things that you seem to not like the flippy stuff and blah blah blah. And I guess it only just occurred to me just in this instance when I said it. So why is he palsy with the Bucks then?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like that whole storyline, like he talked about, like,
The Bucks are the very epitome of the things that if he is wanting to remake AEW in his image, that he should be fucking despising.
yeah. See, and that's the part that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like
And
he
I
talked
also said
about
again
that.
that this whole thing was supposedly based on Moxley viewing that movie Romper Stomper with Russell Crowe and taking shit that his character said. And I'm like, and that's all well and good if it wasn't for the fact that Russell Crowe's character in that movie is a fucking neo-Nazi.
uh, you know, give or take. But listen, the premises was put like a long time ago, but the way they've told the story for that group has just been a shit show.
It has, and
And
I'm sorry, but
having the
Claudia,
Bucks be a part of them makes no sense to me.
yeah,
I see nothing for that. It drives me crazy why the Bucks are with them.
yeah, and again, I'll just run it down again. Moxley is what is he's Exhibit A right now for a guy who thinks he's good on the mic and isn't, you know, and his work, again, he's a garbage wrestler. It's all about bleeding and using weapons and shit. He doesn't wrestle. Pac can't stay healthy. Claudio is boring.
Or, Pac has, these issues.
Yeah,
That's his
yeah.
other issue.
Claudio is just boring as hell now. He has no character. Wheeler sucks. Wheeler, again, there's a reason I laugh every time Cornette calls him Wheeler useless because he is. And don't fucking get me started on Marina because we've gone there. But she's worse than Wheeler. She definitely can't work. That's why she hasn't ever actually been in any real fucking matches. The only one that she was in recently was that one I sent you clips of a couple months ago where she was terrible. And we
Yeah,
know
that
she
match
can't cut
wasn't
a
good.
pro. We know she can't cut a promo.
No.
So she's supposed to look intimidating, like that guy tried to tell me she was, and I'm like, dude, she's not intimidating. She just looks mildly annoyed all the time. But again, it's like I just don't like AEW style. I don't like the constant flipping, the constant no selling, which is typified. And when the guy takes a big power move, and then the other guy's going for another move, and then all of a sudden they spring back up like nothing happened. I don't like when they do those. And WWE, again, I've said it over and over again, WWE will do shit like this too, and I don't like it when they do it. But the moves that take 20 seconds to set up when they're both trying to get their balance on the top turnbuckle and shit, and you can tell that that's what they're
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, because I remember when Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat did that. That's my main issue with wrestling across the board today. It doesn't matter who it is, it's everybody. Again, we got to an age where we knew it wasn't real,
Yeah.
but it still looked like it was real. And they didn't treat it like it wasn't real. They didn't treat it like it was a joke. Even when they started definitely breaking down kayfabe and everything, a lot of them were still acting like this was real and everything. Then I guess at some point they just totally gave up on pretending kayfabe was still real in any way, shape, or form, no matter what Punk and Rollins were doing yesterday at that Fanatics Fest. Um,
Oh, I didn't see that yet. I heard about it, but I didn't see anything on
yeah,
that yet.
and then again, but it's like it just doesn't. So much of it just doesn't look real. And I've said before, I want to like Osprey, but the more I see of him, the less I like him, and the more I hear of him, the less I like him. He's somebody who really needs to just shut the fuck up and not talk to any fucking media right now. Trying to say,
Oh, his media stuff. I understand what you're saying.
oh, you gotta go raise a boss somewhere, bruv. You gotta go sell the houses somewhere else. Because you're selling houses right now?
Yeah.
When you guys are lucky to get 3,000 for a TV taping, I don't want to fucking hear about how other people need to go sell houses on the indies, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean, I get where he's coming from, but at the same point, like it's the old thing, like you're just
Yeah, and I'm not saying if I was Tony
worry.
Khan, I would be like, oh, all these people the WWE just released, I must have them because there are no game changers among any
No,
of them. So
no, no, there's
I can
definitely
get
not.
where Osprey's like, oh, just don't go signing all ex WWE people, but it's like his reasoning is dumb.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like just it, it, it's just like for both companies, just worry about yourselves. And for like AEW, sometimes it's like I get what some of them are saying, but at the same aspect, you're not doing yourself any justice by putting poster board shit out there for the whole world to take a stab at you in regards to it. Listen, AEW's around, what, going on 6 years? They still have a long ways to go. They're still a young company, still figuring things out. I'm glad they moved to smaller arenas so they can fill the smaller arenas and not the bigger ones because it's just going to do them. It's just going to be better for them in the long run until they
Yeah,
get their product more on a better plateau
right.
in regards to how the product is working on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. You
But
know,
the biggest problem too, like you said, they've been around 6 years now.
yeah, it's
There's been no growth. Their ratings are less than what they were at the start. Their attendance is less than what they were at the start. The only thing that you can say they've had a definite success with is that they got a new TV deal.
a new TV deal, and their ratings have been steady. They haven't had a big drop off per se. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's good.
they've
They've
settled
been consistent.
they
They could be
finally
better though.
they finally hit like an area where it doesn't seem to go much below now, but the problem is how much it slipped before it got there.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they were pulling in over 1 million a show once upon a time. And
yeah.
now they get 60% of that.
Yeah. So and that's the part where I just feel Tony needs to really learn from the
And
past.
it seems like maybe he has because he's saying now like he doesn't want to be on screen, he doesn't want to take any bumps, and I'm like, good, you should have never been on screen in the first place, but you couldn't resist it, could you?
Yeah,
And which
that's the
again, I kind of understand why. It was I'll call that Bischoff syndrome.
yeah, that's the fanboy in him.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but he seems to have like backed off on saying things publicly. He seems like he hasn't been out there like tweeting stupid shit about how like, oh, look how much we pulled in when they had Undertaker on NXT,
Yep.
kind of stuff. And
He stopped doing a lot of that stuff. Thank God, because
he
that that
directly
that doesn't
responded to
help.
somebody saying like, I know WWE fans who want to watch AEW. Should I tell them not to? And Tony replied to them like, no, please don't go gatekeeping like that or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh my God, you're learning.
Something sensible to say. Yeah, yeah. Don't
He
feed
told
into
one of
that
his
stuff.
fans, he told one of his fans, no, please don't try to block my fan base from increasing.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Well,
No,
that's just
definitely
supposed
not.
to show how fucking stupid some fans can be.
Listen, you have a Vince McMahon and an Eric Bischoff, and on the flip side, you have a Tony Khan and you have a Dixie Carter. Okay. So the latter two don't need to be on TV, where the other two worked on TV. So, you have some work, some don't.
Yeah, Bischoff was still in it. Again, we can joke he was a C team announcer, but he was an announcer. He had been on TV before he was in charge,
Yeah.
you know. And Vince the same too. Before he owned the company, he was commentating for his father.
Yep.
Dixie Carter and Tony Khan are people who use their family's money to buy into the business.
Yep.
Dixie, I don't know if it's that she ever thought she knew or understood the business, or that just that she wanted to be on TV. Tony, though, from a lot of things that have been said, I think thought he understood and knew the business. And it's been pretty obvious he has not. So,
Yeah, sometimes you want to try to replicate, what others have done on air as far as like owners slash bosses. It works for some, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I'm glad. He doesn't need to be like, he's not that, he doesn't have that like personality to be an on-air person on a regular basis.
no, he most certainly does not, because
In any aspect.
he is very boring. Um, he's got a very punchable face.
Dixie too, like
I'm sorry,
Dixie.
he really does.
When Dixie was on too, man, I dreaded it when she came on because like her voice, not that like when she would do cut promos, like her voice would just be like irritating to my ears. Oh my God. So it's like, nails on a chalkboard type of thing. And the promos weren't good. Like the stuff she did, it was just like it wasn't yeah, it was hard to watch. And it was like, Dixie, please stop being on TV.
Well, I have to, of course, um, ask you this then. When you say that her voice was like nails on a chalkboard,
At times, sometimes she was doing promos, I couldn't stand listening to her.
was it Vicky Guerrero? No, nails on a chalkboard.
No,
Okay.
nope, not that bad. Even though I liked Vicky. No, it wasn't that
Excuse
crazy.
me.
Excuse me. Oh, crazy.
Uh,
Oh, look, you
excuse,
scored a run.
excuse,
It's 2-1 now.
excuse me. A baking powder. Oh, they did. Hold on, let me put that window back open.
Yeah, they scored a run and they got 2 outs with a man on second.
Oh, they scored a run with 2 outs, which is kind of remarkable for them lately. Bellinger fly out, Stanton struck out, Chisholm doubled, and LeMahieu singled. Yay!
I'm just happy that my team, the Cubs, have been able to stay where they are with their pitching injuries from their starting pitching.
Well,
So
when you've got in a, dare I say, otherworldly performance from a guy who I think a lot of people thought would be good, but I'm not sure anybody thought he'd be this good.
thank you, New York Mets.
Yeah, that's going to go down as one of the worst trade. It's on the way to being regarded as one of the worst trades very quickly. But
This,
obviously, trading for Tucker was obviously also a great move. Um,
now we just have to re-sign him because he's a free agent after this season. So that's gonna
yeah,
be
so
the
that's
tricky
that's
part.
going to be key. Oh, I didn't realize Armstrong PCA's on base was so low. Damn, it's only 308 coming into today. Well, if his WAR is that high, then it means he must be playing good defense too, and he is.
Yeah, there's some other stats though that are pretty high. I thought it was his OPS was higher than that.
His OPS is 871, which is pretty good, but it's like you kind of almost wish that he was walking more than he is. 'Cause, 270 batting average, but only 308 on base is kind of but they're obviously getting a lot of power. I see. Suzuki's been hitting, Tucker, and decent power numbers from Happ and Swanson too, even though Swanson's also got a low OBP, I see. And yeah, so that's always helpful. And you got Justin Turner, who sucks. Wait, didn't they cut him? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
That was somebody else.
And then yeah, your pitching has been okay. I think I just saw Emanaga's coming back. Is that right?
Yeah, he should be back next week against St. Louis.
Yeah.
Losing Justin Steele for the year was the hard one. You know, our pitching
It's so
staff is
hard.
held together after Imanaga got fucking his injury too. But you know, we have some young guys who've had some rocky starts where the bullpens had to come in and like hold it down while we, you know, score a shit ton of runs and then hold it down so we can get the win.
Yeah, Tyone's been pretty
He's
much
been good.
he's been kind of league average, it says, based on ERA plus. Been getting good stuff out of Matthew Boyd. The problem is, can you really count on that to continue?
Yeah, I mean they're in trade talks to try to get another starting pitcher because we definitely need it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's obviously the place where they got to be looking. So
The bullpen's been doing good. So the starting pitchers and they were in talks. There was rumors with them and Chris Sale, but Chris Sale just went on the IL with a fractured
fractured rib
rib
cage,
cage.
yeah, that sounds
So
like he
like
could be out for a while.
we're not trading for him. I'd stay away from that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean there's other pitchers to be had, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're
I was
keeping
about
good pace. I mean, you know, 46 and 30. They're 16 games above 500, so I'm fine with that.
I was about to say, because you mentioned possibility of the Cubs looking to trade for Chris Sale, and I was just gonna say, Chris Sale in a Cubs uniform, that would just look kind of weird. But it's like, well, he is on his third different team now with the Braves, so it does get to a point where a guy wearing a new uniform can't be that weird anymore, you know?
And it's weird to realize how long he's been in the league now, because I think he played with the White Sox for like 6 years, 6, 7 years before he got traded to Boston, and then
Chris
now,
Sale debuted in the major leagues back in 2010
yeah,
when he was 21. So yeah, he was with the White Sox from 2010 to 2016. He was with the Red Sox from 2017 to 2019 and 21 to 23. He didn't play at all in 2020. He was obviously still with the Red Sox, but and then yeah, he's been with the Braves last year and this year. But that also brought to mind because it's another fun little discussion. I fun discussion I got into on Facebook. This was a good one. This wasn't a bad one.
oh,
It was from a group called MLB Throwbacks, and it had a picture of Willie Mays in a Mets uniform, which was the last couple of years of
oh,
his career.
oh wow, yeah, that's
And
old.
it said like the picture that was attached had a thing that said, "Has any sports legend ever looked more out of place in a second uniform than Willie Mays did in a Mets jersey?" And the group that posted it said Willie Mays in a Mets jersey, icon or out of place. And I commented, considering that he played for the New York Giants, who had the same cap logo and some of the same colors, because what the Mets did was they took the blue from the Brooklyn Dodgers and the orange from the New York Giants and mashed them together to come up with their team colors. Like
Gotcha.
I was trying to, win back all the disgruntled Giants and Dodgers fans whose teams abandoned them 5 years before.
Of course,
Yeah. So because of those things, Mays in a Mets uniform probably wouldn't make my top 10 for looking out of place in a different uniform. And I had a lot of people, agree with that. Um, so that I think could be a subject we should maybe want to do at a different time
yeah, you should note that
because
down.
that applies to all four of the major, pro sports. Um, I think it's more noticeable in baseball and football than it is in basketball and hockey, but that's just kind of me too. Because obviously there's some pretty egregious ones we can point to and go, that just doesn't look right in basketball and hockey. And I think there's one we all know of. Jordan. Um, but no, there's a lot of good ones that are out there. And I think, it's like
Yeah,
when you look at the pictures, it really is bizarre.
I mean Patrick Ewing in a fucking Orlando Magic's jersey.
Or Seattle Supersonics, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
George Gervin played the last 2, 3 years with the Bulls.
Yep.
You have what OJ Simpson, what was it, San Francisco
49ers.
49ers?
Yep.
Um,
Joe Namath with the Rams and Johnny Unitas with the Chargers.
yeah.
Joe
Um,
Montana with the Chiefs. Emmett Smith with the Cardinals.
hmm, yeah, yeah.
Shit, I mean, I know he won a Super Bowl and everything, but Tom Brady with the Bucks. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that was a little bit out of place.
But
True.
here's the thing too. Aaron Rodgers,
Ooh, Akeem Olajuwon with the Toronto
the
Raptors.
Raptors, yeah. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre with the Jets didn't look right, of course.
I think it's
But
was so
but
funny with the karma with that one.
but they were still wearing green, which of course they also wore in Green Bay. Different shade of green, yes. But Brett Favre with the Vikings, and now once he suits it up, Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers will both look much more out of place than either guy did with the Jets.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it is funny. Like two legendary Packers went to the fucking Jets towards the end of their.
both had issues
Yeah,
of
what does
different
that
type,
say?
yeah.
What does that say about the New York Jets there?
I
But
don't
yeah, Aaron Rodgers is gonna be weird in a fucking Pittsburgh. You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, it's,
Favre would
again,
look
because like I
weird in
said,
the fucking Vikings.
they were still wearing green with the Jets, but they were wearing completely different colors with the Vikings and what Rodgers will with the Steelers. So,
I just it so my brother-in-law is a Steelers fan. It
I mean, Russell Wilson with the Giants is going to look weird now too, but again, he's worn Broncos and Steelers uniforms since he left Seattle. So,
yeah, it's still gonna be weird though. I when we play Pittsburgh this year, I know my
Donovan
brother.
McNabb with the Redskins.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit odd. I know my brother-in-law is a Steelers fan, but for the love of God, I just want the Bears to wipe the floor with the fucking Steelers that day because I fucking want to see Aaron Rodgers just fucking shit the bed.
You want to see him crawling on the ground, begging, and looking for his ayahuasca?
Yes. I want the Bears to do to Aaron Rodgers what they did to Brett Favre in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Small retribution, small payback.
Oh, that would hurt.
That's
Who
what
did,
I want.
who did, ah, shit. Who the fuck did, ah, damn it.
I'm trying to think of some hockey ones that were just really out of place.
Earl Campbell finished his career, yeah, with the Saints.
Yeah, yeah.
That's another weird one. Some hockey ones. Okay, I can give you a few that can remember kind of off the top of my head.
I mean, Wayne Gretzky, I guess, but still,
Wayne Gretzky with the Blues because he only played 18 games with them.
yeah.
It's kind of like Mike Piazza with the Marlins. Yes, he was there only there for a very brief period of time.
Yeah.
You
Andre
know,
Dawson with the Marlins too. That was such a weird thing.
oh, yeah. Dave Winfield with the Indians at the end there. But he had worn about 5 different uniforms at that point too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Hockey. God, who else? God, I want to brain fart on the
uh,
hockey one.
Eric Lindros with the Rangers,
A little bit, yeah.
and then the Maple Leafs and Stars.
Yeah.
Um,
Hockey's weird because
Nobody
there's a
stays in one place.
yeah, because there's so much movement with hockey, I feel, even back in the 80s and 90s. You know,
Okay.
you had a guy play for a team for like 8, 9, 10 years and then go play for somewhere else for like
Well,
7, 8. Just like
this,
Chris
this
Chelios, Edmonton, Chicago for a long time, and then the fucking Red Wings for a long time.
yeah, this one was brief, and this guy played for a few different teams, but he came back in 2005, 2006 at age 41 to play 5 games with the Phoenix Coyotes, did Mr. Brett Hull.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got the one for hockey. Martin Brodeur, 7 games in goal for the St. Louis Blues in 2014-15. After playing
Oh,
his entire career over 20 years for the Devils.
yeah.
That's got to be really the ultimate one.
Yeah, that's yeah, definitely. I
And
yeah.
I'm obviously no Devils fan, being a Rangers fan, but and one of my cousins is a Devils fan, and I remember how upset he was by it. And I was like, dude, I'm not a Devils fan, but this doesn't look right to me either.
I mean, Jonathan Toews is making a comeback. He's come back and he signed with the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Like
weird seeing him in the Jets uniform.
you're like Dominic Hasek, he obviously moved on to the Red Wings and then he played one season with the Senators, then went back to the Red Wings at the end of his career. How many people really kind of remembered that before he was with the Sabres, he was with the Blackhawks?
Yep. Yeah, and the crazy part with that is that the Blackhawks had Dominic Hasek and Eddie Belfour at the same time, and they had to choose which young goalie they were going to go with.
And then went with Belfort, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
Because in that Stanley Cup Finals where we lost to Pittsburgh, like they both played. Like Hasek was Belfour's backup at that time. Like they had two young goalies. They made it to the Stanley Cup Finals with two young goalies.
Yeah.
It was just like they didn't. Uh, Belfour was doing better at that time, and they traded Hasek to get some capital. I mean, kudos to Hasek because he had a great career.
Yeah.
You know,
This one, again, this guy played for two different teams, but after playing so many years combined for the Oilers and the Rangers, when Mark Messier went to Vancouver,
oh yeah, that's a
and then of course he went back to the Rangers, but that one looks weird. Oh, I just thought of another one and now I forgot it. Oh, this is going the other way. This is a guy who played at the end with the Rangers and it looked so fucking weird. Pavel Bure with the Rangers after playing most of his career with Vancouver, and then he played a few years for Florida.
yep.
And then there's a whole host of teams you could come up with of like veteran players who kind of played at the end of their career with the Rangers. I mean, Jaromir Jagr with the Rangers always looked weird.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing too. I look at Jagr. It's like so after he left Pittsburgh, plays a couple years for Washington, gets traded to the Rangers, misses a year, comes back, plays 3 more years for the Rangers, then retires for like 4 years, then comes back and in the span of 8 years, playing into his mid 40s, played for the Flyers, Stars, Bruins, Devils, Panthers, and Flames.
And he seemed pretty productive still in those 40s too, I think.
Um, he was
Decently productive.
he was still putting up over 60 points into his 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was still chugging along.
Another reason, of course, I bring this up is because the Rangers just made a trade and they traded Chris Kreider to the Ducks, and this is after Kreider had played literally his whole career for the Rangers, 13 seasons.
Yep.
So I feel like the trade had to be made because of his cap hit and the fact that his production definitely went way down this year.
Yeah.
But that's going to look so weird to see him in a Ducks uniform.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh
look
yeah.
again. It's at the point where it would definitely look weird to see him in any other uniform, but for some reason, to see him in a Ducks uniform is going to look especially weird.
It's the Ducks,
It's
man.
probably because it's a completely different color scheme, and it's probably also again because yeah, it's the Ducks who still have one of the weirder logos.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of good ones. There's one Sporkle quiz where they have it's like a slideshow. And what's great is they had some ones that the first when I first did those quizzes, I had never seen them before. So everybody remembers, of course, Babe Ruth went to the Braves after he left the Yankees and played like half a season, then retired. But they had a picture of him when he was a coach for the Dodgers then,
Weird, right?
later in the 30s, early in the 40s, and I never knew that. And so it's like if you thought Babe Ruth in a Braves uniform looked weird, seeing him in a Dodgers uniform.
Just
But then they had one later that was even weirder. Um, Joe DiMaggio coaching for the A's.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, that looks even weirder because obviously he played his whole career for the Yankees. He wasn't like Ruth where he played for somebody both before and after the Yankees. So, yeah, he was a coach for the Oakland A's in 68 and 69, and that probably had as much to do with the fact that yeah, he was from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So that might be one of the reasons why they were able to convince him to do it. Um, but it's like to see him wearing a completely different uniform with again completely different colors. It's really bizarre. There was
Yeah.
another one I found like that because we all know about that famous brawl between the Braves and the Padres in 1984.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about,
So the first time I saw that, there was a guy walking around in a Braves uniform, and I couldn't believe it was who it was. Because it's like this guy played his entire playing career for one team. He was a coach at this point. And I kind of understood why he was the coach because of who the team's manager was. It was a former teammate of his. But to see a guy in a Braves uniform in 1984 with the number 45 and the name Gibson on his back, that threw me. Because when I first saw it, I was
yeah.
just
Yep.
like, I'm like, is that Bob Gibson in a Braves
Yeah.
uniform?
Yeah, man.
And it's like, yeah, he was their pitching coach because Joe Torre was the Braves manager at the time, and they had been teammates in St. Louis.
Yep.
So, but it was like, oh my God.
Crazy, right? It's weird to
Yeah.
see shit like that.
Well, yeah, and it's like okay. Talk about guys like who go into coaching. Like for me, it was so weird to see Don Mattingly wear a Dodgers uniform as their manager, and then a Marlins uniform as their manager. But now
Yeah.
he's coaching with the Blue Jays, and that for some reason looks even weirder to me than Dodgers and Marlins.
Yeah.
But Mark McGuire coached for the Padres and the Dodgers.
Yep.
While he played for, two different teams in his career, it wasn't those teams.
Nope.
So that looks weird. Um, oh yeah, a couple years ago, Barry Bonds coached for the Marlins. I think it was under Don Mattingly too. I think he was like the hitting coach for 1 year, and it sounds like it didn't go over great. Like he had like issues with the players,
Hmm.
you thing. But and while he played for both the Pirates and the Giants, two different teams in his career, to see him wearing a Miami Marlins uniform.
It's kind of funny, right?
Well, the other significant thing that you kind of notice when you look at pictures of Barry Bonds in a Marlins uniform is you go, huh, his head looks smaller.
Oh boy.
So yeah, it's like I think that might be a fun segment to do with Jeremy though, just to, especially if we could pull up some of the pictures just to see some of them because
Yeah, yeah. I'll let them know. Well, definitely. It'll be something fun.
it's just a fun little diversion, especially as we're now going to be very soon in that time of year where basketball and hockey are over and football hasn't really started yet. So all we got is baseball and, you know,
Yeah,
which is fine for me. I'm absolute big baseball fan, but
yeah, of
uh,
course.
it's one of the reasons why I don't watch ESPN anymore because they still talk about football nonstop, even when it's not football season. So
Oh, that and basketball, like football and basketball, they can't get away from,
yeah,
they just don't know what to do without football and basketball,
and it seems like so
unfortunately.
much of the stuff that they talk about that's basketball is not so much about what's going on the court.
No, and they always seem to focus on certain specific items. And like a lot of it's re a good majority of it could be repetitive.
Yeah,
Like I get tired, like there's times where I'm like, yeah, first take, get up, ES Sports Center, like done. I can't take the repetitiveness or the talking about the same three guys for a fucking month in a row. I just can't do it. I can't do it. It wears and tears on me in regards to that.
and then of course the other problem is that it's always going to come down to essentially some form of, can you believe what LeBron James said?
Oh yeah. I'm
This
so
man, who has been the king of the sport for going on 2 decades, is now making himself an even bigger joke than he's ever been.
yep.
And I gotta be completely honest with you. If I never heard Stephen A. Smith's voice again, I think I'd throw a party. Because, yeah.
You know, for as much as I agree to disagree with him, there are a lot of things that where he has really good valid points on um for certain topics.
I'm not saying he doesn't have good points. It's just that he's so fucking annoying and he's so pompous.
He definitely puts a lot of extra oomph into his speaking. I will say
And
that.
and then again, anytime that he talks about something that's not basketball, he pretty much always makes factual errors. It's like I remember when he tried to critique The Dark Knight many years ago, and it was so stupid. And then last year when he was trying to say like Aaron Judge is not the MVP because he's had Juan Soto hitting behind him all year, when in fact Juan Soto hit in front of Aaron Judge all year. I remember like I hate to invoke this because the guy's dead now, and it was a very sad way it ended, but when he was saying something about Dwayne Haskins when he was coming out of college. He's like, I don't think that Dwayne Haskins is that much of a quarterback. He's more of a runner than he is a thrower when he was not a mobile quarterback.
No. He
It was
was
almost
not.
it was almost as if he was assuming that because he was African American that he was supposed to be a mobile quarterback. That it kind of read like that at the time when he said that. So it was like it's like, do you do your fucking homework at all? People always will jump all over Chris Collinsworth for sounding like a know-it-all and everything. And I get that. I do. There's been plenty of times where I've disliked listening to Collinsworth. But he is putting in the effort and trying to learn as much as he can about everything to sound knowledgeable. And so, but it's like, oh, he's too knowledgeable, so he's arrogant or he's a pisshead or
Yeah, I know.
when did we get so anti-intellectual in this country?
A long time ago.
Yeah. It seems like it's increased greatly over the last couple decades. I'm not quite sure why.
Um,
I don't think it has anything to do with this medium over which we're currently speaking.
no, no, nothing to do with that. Uh, what's something I was going to say? I forget now. Shit. Shoot'ems. I forgot. There's something else that was Jersey related, and I had it and I lost it. Oh well. Oh, another item. I don't know if you saw this, but I think this is a fan going too far, maybe with their analysis of John Cena's promo. So when he did the shout outs to Claudio Castagnoli, Nick Nemeth, and Matt Cardona, people think that was a secret code for Claudio Castroneves meeting CC, aka Cole Cabana, Nick Nemeth equaling Nick Jackson, and Matt Cardona equal Matt Jackson. I, good,
No.
good thought on it. Good. Thinking outside the box, I should say. But listen, I know like some of the stuff that not Punk, Cena said in this promo about like I'm the only guy that really likes you that you've ever shared a locker room with or whatever. But I hope that's not what Cena was trying to do. Um,
I can't imagine that it would be because what the fuck does Cena give a shit about the Young Bucks?
yeah, and it's kind of like, some people are like, well, you know, he's in his little program with Punk, so he's gonna just pull whatever he can from all the bad shit that's kind of come Punk's way or whatever he's been infused with other wrestlers and his personality and kind of use it in the promo, which I get, but if that's what fucking Cena was trying to do, kudos to him for doing it in that manner. But um, I, I don't know. At that point, just fucking call him out by name. You know what I mean? Like, you want to take a true shot and get heat, fucking say their names. Like, say Cole Cabana, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson. Then you'll get some true fucking heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same point, you don't want to be enticing members of another program, another wrestling business company, I should say, on your program. But sometimes they learn, sometimes they don't, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely that's like the people who were reading every little thing into the Beatles lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You're over analyzing something that doesn't need to be over analyzed because it probably at the end of the day has nothing to do with the analysis that you're portraying right now.
yeah,
So I
just
found it interesting though. I was like, okay, that's good outside the box thinking for sure. But
it's
yeah, I don't
like
know.
I guess you get points for ingenuity, but I'm also deducting points for using the jump to conclusions mat without
Yeah,
permission.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
I'd love to see that on the Jump to Conclusions match space. Reference to Young Bucks.
It was interesting. I've seen some other nitpicks from Cena's promo, but not nitpicks, but analysis of his promo. I thought it was good.
Uh,
Definitely one of his better ones.
I will let me just entertain the thought. Let's allow it for a second here, right?
Okay, we're gonna allow it for a second.
Let's say that is what Cena was doing, and like that he cleared it with Punk, and he was like, "Oh, let me send a coded disc to Colt and the Bucks." Notice how then it was to Colt and the Bucks, but not Kenny.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't come up with one for Kenny, or they chose not to then. So I guess maybe that does lend a little more credence to something that I think both Punk and Omega have said, that they don't necessarily have problems with each other, and that Kenny, I think, was just kind of there to back up his. I was going to use a bad term, to back up his friends,
Yes.
and everything. I'm still going to guess that Punk's biggest. We know what Colt's his issues with Colt are, and that goes back to before anything that was AEW related. It has to do with them getting sued by WWE and Colt basically, then suing him. I guess it was because it's like you didn't cover all my legal fees. It's like, aren't you a big boy? You know?
Yeah, I think Punk did cover some of it, but I think there was a point where gonna he wasn't gonna keep doing all of it. And I guess
Yeah,
there was communication with that, and I guess Cabana didn't like it
yeah,
from what I've kind of read from other things, but nonetheless. And it's weird too because there's videos on like X and other videos where it's the Bucks and Omega and they've given kudos to like Punk has given kudos to the Bucks on social media. The Bucks have given kudos to Punk on social media, before he joined AEW. So, they were giving kudos to each other. And, I guess the Bucks, were trying to get Punk to come out of whatever it is, wrestling retirement or hiatus was. They've said it on videos before. But at the end of the day, sometimes, you could be a fan of a specific person in your field, but sometimes you don't mesh with that person when it comes to business time. So I feel like some of that has to do with that. I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, it all comes down to Hangman Page going off, doing
right.
what he
That was
did.
going to be my thing. I was going to say, in addition to like Punk definitely has heat with Colt Cabana, which again stems from really before AEW.
Yeah.
But I think Punk's main sources of enmity within AEW itself, other than probably Tony, were the Bucks and Page more so than Kenny.
Yeah. And Page put everything in motion with there might have been some stuff that he didn't like what Tony or maybe the Bucks were doing as far as the management and the background stuff and whatnot. And he had some conflicts and
Oh, and Jack Perry, of course.
oh, well, yeah, yeah. And the Jack Perry at the end, in regards to, that stuff. But I think it all blew over with Hangman trying to stick up for Cole Cabana because they thought that Punk being there was not putting Cole Cabana on TV. Like it was
Yeah,
petty
the whole
shit.
thing was that they thought Punk was keeping Colt Cabana off of TV.
And Punk was like, I don't give a shit.
And it's
Like
like
he could do whatever the fuck he wants with Cole Cabana. Like Punk
that
didn't
just
care.
that just goes to show how bad their priorities were. They were more concerned about Colt Cabana
Yeah, I mean Hangman just
than a
ruined
guy
that.
than a guy who was a proven draw and was drawing numbers for them.
And Hangman went off, on his own with that promo. And
Punk
that's
was too
this
Punk was definitely still too sensitive about it, and I've said that.
yeah.
But again, it's still a little bit.
No, he was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He wouldn't have needed to get so sensitive if it wasn't for Page just going into business for himself. And then again, the bigger problem with it too is that Page goes into business for himself and then basically runs away from it all.
Yeah.
He hid behind the Bucks and Kenny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then he put his friends came to his, and like friends do, they come to help you out. But at the same point, it's kind of like you're a big boy. You should be able to handle your own business, Hangman. Like there's a point like in my life with my friends that I've had over the years, I know which ones can stick up for themselves and ones that can't. Like I'm willing to stick up and back up a friend. But if something like it's repetitive or whatever the case may be, and they're always looking for me or somebody else to back them up, like it's like, come on, man the fuck up. You like there's gotta be a point where you man up. You can't be just doing that over and over again. And I don't know if there was a history with that, but it just seemed like a very bitch move to me in regards to that whole situation. And then
Yeah.
you're just putting fuel on the fire. Your friends are coming to help you out, and then all hell breaks loose at that point, which it shouldn't have. Because at the end of the day, if Tony would have came in and nipped that shit in the butt,
Yeah, if Tony was a boss instead of a fan.
it just wouldn't a lot of this shit wouldn't have gone the way it did.
Yeah.
And
So
then Jack Perry was just, because he's friends with them, just, you know, adding,
Jack Perry was being a little bitch.
and just because I mean, and what point, like, listen, you want to do the fucking real glass, be my guest. You're gonna be in a shit ton of pain, do the fake glass or whatever the case may be. Like you save like spots like that for big time shows, not for a fucking TV show. Like you don't need to do big spots like that. Look what happened to Goldberg. Let's break our hand through a fucking glass and almost, fucking ruin your goddamn arm. So, you got to learn from shit. Don't, there's time and place to do big spots like that, not on the fucking TV. You want to do it on the pay-per-view, fine. But then when you go off and do something shit like that, it's just you're adding. It's like you're doing it on purpose. You really are. And I've read things about Jack Perry for as much as I want to like him. I've read things from people who have interviewed him that, you know, in the wrestling business that he is not one that's very easy to interview or get along with. That he could literally be a prick at times,
And
which
what
is
I
sad because I feel like his dad was the total opposite, when it
Yeah,
comes to his fans and stuff like that.
right. And what I find interesting too, we haven't heard anything since Punk's been back with WWE about any backstage issues, any problems, any arguments that have come up,
Nothing.
And then here comes Matt fucking Riddle giving an interview with somebody saying, "Oh, CM Punk, he's a dick, man. He's hard to work with. All these people who still work for the company are telling me what a jerk and what an asshole he is. Motherfucker, you never worked with him. Why
No.
don't you shut the fuck up, you wife abuser?"
Yeah, and it makes no sense. Like who is he talking to? He's the only thing that's
He
been
was he
mentioned.
was he was doing his best Meltzer. He was making shit up by saying people that he knows are still there.
And it's one of the things, if there was a problem, like, listen, at the end of the day, if there's a problem, Hunter's gonna fucking fire him. Like, it is what it is. They're gonna suspend him, fire him, whatever the case may be. Like, if you want to do this, this is how we got, this is what we got to do. You know what I mean? The only thing I've heard that was there was some storytelling or promos or something where in creative that he didn't like, he kind of didn't want to talk about it. Triple H was like, heard wind of it. They told Triple H. Triple H went to talk to Punk. He didn't want to talk about it first. He's like, hey, listen, this is the old days. Let's talk. Let's square this away. They did. They fixed it. Boom, done. So, and Punk has to be hesitant. Everything looks good at the facade of being a new regime under Triple H, not Vince McMahon, until you get in a situation where something's not going right. And then you're truly going to see if it's still the old school Vince McMahon way or if it's the new Triple H way.
Yeah.
So, and it's the new Triple H way. So, kudos to that in regards to it. So yeah, I haven't heard anything negative. No one's. I don't. Riddle is. He's not that I'm against smoking pot, but that motherfucker's high all the time. I don't know. I used to like him, and it just I'm
He
not. I'm not really a
he abused his wife.
not really a fan after a lot of other shit. So
Yeah. wife, girlfriend, whatever it was. I can't remember now because I try not to think of this motherfucker. But yeah, Matt Riddle's one of those guys who, yeah, just go the fuck away. There's a reason you haven't been brought back, and it's a very good one.
I mean, it's
And
good
there's a reason,
reason.
and there's a reason you haven't worked anywhere else. Why AEW's never brought you in or anything like that. It's because you're too much of a risk.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked at like NWA, MLW, and somewhere else. I mean, TNA. The TNA bring him in for a small part? I don't remember. To work. I forget. I think they might have for like a month, and that was it. But nonetheless, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you'll ever see him on a so-called bigger promotion like AEW or WWE ever again.
Yeah. Like, I guess he worked briefly for MLW in New Japan, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah, he's done a lot of indie stuff and whatnot.
yeah.
One of those things. Yeah, we just don't. Yeah, if there's something legitimate, fine. But if you're just like hearsay bullshit rumors or whatever, then that's just fucking petty, and that just drives me up the wall. That I don't like at all.
Fucking Riddle's almost 42, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He's a guy who looks to me too, again, just he never grew up, he's stuck in perpetual adolescence and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yep, understand that. Um, well, it looks like we will not have a single White Sox on an all-star team this year. I
no,
think that's hilarious.
you have to have one person.
I don't know who that's going to be.
Um,
They have nobody deserving, is what I'm trying to say.
well,
And
yeah.
they have so many rookies that have been called up now from the farm triple A and double A, like 6, 7, 8 in the last like month that like yeah.
So because we know nobody's going to be voted in.
Yeah, no one's definitely being voted in.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling over their roster. Mm, maybe they take that guy Shane Smith.
Maybe.
Um, maybe they take Miguel Vargas.
Hmm, he could be
He's one of the only hitters with an OPS plus over 100, so he sticks out a little. I don't know.
let me look at their team stats. Like who oh no.
Yeah, I think
Stats.
even though they have a worse record, I think the Rockies are actually going to be easier to pick somebody from because their catcher's having a pretty good year. For the Rockies, and so is one of their relief pitchers. Yeah, one of the relief pitchers is having a pretty good year. So it's like I'm just saying there's a as bad as they are too. There's a bit of a more obvious choice.
Yes. Miguel Vargas might be someone.
I don't think third base is I don't whoa, I don't think third base is an especially strong position in the American League.
I
Uh,
mean, Luis Robert Jr., he would be the one that should have been, but he's having such a shitty fucking year.
yeah, I was gonna say you can't really justify him right now unless his stats pick up bigly
Yeah,
quickly.
he's not been doing good.
Yeah, it's got a sub 200 batting average and he's only slugging 310. So yeah, you couldn't justify taking him, even if he could, even if he would just essentially fit the definition of a star. Um,
He's not playing like one.
yeah,
Definitely not. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm not I will say in a couple, wow, let me look at the calendar because I will be traveling to the Chicago area shortly. Um, Yeah, next week. Next Thursday, July 3rd. I'll be traveling to Chicago area for my aunt's celebration of life. So I'll be up there for the 4th of July weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna have a busy July, man. I'll be up there for 4th of July weekend for my aunt's stuff, and then I'll be home on July 9th. And then the following I'll be home on July 9th, and then the following week, the July 16th, that Wednesday, we'll be traveling to Florida for the esports tournament and like a little mini vacation as well. So I'll be there from July 16th to July 22nd. Then I have off July 31st for my dad's eye surgery. Yeah, I'm gonna have a busy month. Traveling, traveling north to the back to the Midwest, the Chicago area, and then coming home to North Carolina, then traveling fucking all the way south to Florida to the Orlando area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be crazy.
yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have my own craziness that just won't involve traveling, because it's like, yeah, holiday weekend, and then the next weekend again, I've been told I'm going to have to work, and then the weekend after that is when I'm actually going to be moving and doing all that shit now, and then the week after that is when I have to go through my nuclear medicine treatment, and at the same time, my sister, who I'm moving in with, it has to have surgery.
Are you gonna
So
become nuclear man?
I hope not. That guy sucks. Um, so yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy month. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot going on. And because of certain things with my dad, he can't fly, so we're driving. So what we're just going to do is it's like a 13 and a half hour drive, 13 and a half. So I'm just going to split it up, drive about 8 hours, see where that takes me. From here to like Indianapolis is around 8 hours. So the path that I can take to get up to that area, I think take me around the Indianapolis area, and then I'll just stop and get stay overnight and then finish the rest of the trip up to the Chicago area the next day. Do the same thing when we come down. So it's just going to be easier. I don't know, my dad's like going to be 83 in a couple months, and my mom's in her late 70s. They don't need to be sitting in the car for 13 and a half hours. Need to split that up, 100%.
I am detecting that I need to turn the air conditioning back on.
Ooh, is it getting nice and toasty in there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
man.
I can stand it, the air not running most of the time, but with how hot it's going to be up here the next few days, I probably won't be able to turn it off. Yeah, because I'm keeping it off to save on the electricity, obviously, but
Oh yeah, yeah, I get it.
yeah, again, it's going to be okay, so you probably won't be able to see this. This is the first time. Oh, it doesn't say it now. Damn it. So yesterday when I checked the extended forecast, they were predicting a high temperature for Tuesday of 102.
Hmm.
And it was the first time I think on the weather app that I've ever seen it predicted to go to triple digits, but now it's only saying 98. But even so, the expected high temperatures tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, 98, 98, 96.
Yeah, we are in the same.
I can't wait to see what August is going to be like.
Yeah, we are in the same boat. Let me pull up. Today, the high is 95. Here's the week. So today's 95. Tomorrow, 101, mostly sunny. Tuesday, 102, mostly sunny. Wednesday, 100, most PM thunderstorms. Thursday, 97. Friday, 95. Saturday, 96. Like we have 90s. They have predicted for us 90s all the way up until July 6th. Like we're getting our late June, July heat wave, and sometimes August. We I forget, well, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. The whole month of July was in the 90s except for 2 days. Like
And there it is.
crazy how the real field temperatures are just it's going to be very unbearable, to be honest.
You can't see that, can you?
It's KD.
Traded to Houston.
Oh, he was just traded to Houston.
Traded to Houston for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in the upcoming draft, and 5 second-round picks.
Oh,
Now,
besides the hot weather, let's go to ESPN.com.
now
They made that pretty quick.
I don't know how good Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks are, and I don't know how good of a player you'll get with the number 10 pick in the draft because
Dylan Brooks is just like a average player that's kind of like the enforcer defensive player.
okay.
Jalen Green is decent.
My whole thing is again, I'm just not sure how Durant is still worth that much in a return. It's like hasn't isn't he a bit on the over the hill side at this point?
Yeah, it's a little bit much for an aging vet. So Dylan Brooks averaged 21 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists this year. So he's a 21 point player. So I mean that's good. Let's see what Dylan Brooks did this year. Dylan Brooks is he's more of a defensive player. I mean, but 14 points he averaged this year, 4 rebounds, 2 assists per game on average. So not giving it a whole lot more. He's more like a Draymond Green version per se in that aspects. I'm not trying to wholly compare him to that, but let's see. Houston for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick. Oh, we'll see who that and 5 second-round picks. I mean, here's the thing. Kudos to Houston for the only thing they're giving up is this year's number 10 pick. All the rest of them are second-round picks.
Yeah.
That to me, I think is fine because second-round picks could be you can find a starter or you can find your sixth man of the year or you can find a good rotation piece. You're not getting anything, very few superstars coming out of the second round. But so I'm giving up all those second round picks. That's good that they didn't have to give up more than just this year's first round pick. Um, so let's see. Okay, so Houston's just getting Durant then.
Yeah, it looks like
And
it.
Phoenix gets 2 players, this year's number 10 pick and 5 second-rounders. And Houston was a team that was the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Now let's see how Durant meshes with the rest of the team. That was the second seed in the West. Very interesting.
Hey, here's a thought, kind of bringing it back a little bit to something we half mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
WWE is going to be in Saudi Arabia next week.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Israel and Iran are launching missiles at each other, and we just attacked Iran last night.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying Iran would launch anything into Saudi Arabia because the WWE is going to be there, but wouldn't you be at least a little nervous going to the Middle East right now if you were American?
I know I would. I mean, I don't think Iran has any issues with, you know, um, I don't know what Iran and Saudi Arabia's relationship is.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know what it is either, but again, we know that Iran is a big sponsor of, all these terrorist groups and everything. I'm sure some of them are active in Saudi Arabia in some way. I'm sure if they wanted to, they could activate them and say, "Oh yeah, go abduct so and so," if they could get near them. I don't know. It just yeah, I just wouldn't be feeling too great about it right now if I was one of these people going to Saudi Arabia for WWE next week.
no, I 100% agree with you. I would be I would be very nervous as well.
I mean, they're going to have to be under strict lock and key. I would think it's going to be like, yeah, you we're not going to, for your own safety, don't ever go out of the hotel, or don't go without, like, if they're going to have like a fucking armed guards, or who the fuck knows.
And the other thing too is like we don't know what type of festivities they do in Saudi. Sometimes they do like other stuff
Yeah, I
for the
don't know if they're
Saudi
doing like any
shows.
kind of like fan fest stuff or anything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a bit challenging. Yeah, man. Yeah, I thought about that too last night. I was like, oof. I'm like, I wonder how the guys feel about going over there right now. 100%.
oh boy. Reading a transcript of Tony Storm's promo from Collision last night.
I did not watch Collision.
Well, at one point, I guess this had to be a little censored. She says, I sincerely believe you are the greatest of all time. I am not, nor was I ever meant to be. I am a manic, neurotic, erotic, sexually questionable, consistently sweating, bottom heavy, transatlantic whore. And when this belt is in my bosom, I make magic happen. So unless you plan on pulling a rabbit from your snatch, I highly doubt you can say the same.
I'm sorry, but some of the shit she comes up with, I think is great. I do. I think it's hysterical.
I mean, so long as it's not getting the company in trouble with the TV network, I mean,
The shit she says is the stuff she comes up with was fucking great. If you could pull a frappin out of your snatch. That
I mean,
is
I guess you could even argue at this point that at this point the character has changed from being like faded Hollywood starlet to like drunken sailor who cuts dirty limericks. It's
yes.
like, yeah,
She's definitely got a lot going on there.
yeah. Again, it's just like anytime I saw somebody try to say that the gimmick was Marilyn Monroe, I was just always like, tell me you know nothing about classic Hollywood. I said just because she's platinum blonde, that's the only thing about it that's even close to evoking Marilyn Monroe. I said she is, she is, the character is in All About Eve. She is Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard. That's what the character is. Just because she's got the platinum blonde hair, she is not doing Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was never depicted as being crazy.
No, 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 not at all.
Marilyn Monroe had her drug issues, but that's another story. So, all right, Jesus Christ, it's after 1 o'clock.
Yes, I know we've been on for a while. Oof.
See how much more engaging the conversation is when somebody else is in here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't
No
know
idea.
what I'm talking about. Am I talking about something?
I don't know. Depends. What universe are we in? I'll let you know.
Uh, I mean, well, that's a very good question. We're living in a universe of, once again, where we have somebody who promised to not get us into any new wars, and he broke that promise in 5 months.
Yeah, you know.
He's not the first to do that. He won't be the last to do that, though, but still.
Nope, not at all.
One of the big things of his whole movement was about not being in the war, America first. And it's like, dude, we're now fighting Israel's war for them. So,
Very much so.
I just,
Yeah. Well,
I can't deal with this.
all right, folks, we're going to end this show. We've been on for a while. This will be posted by Wednesday. What is Wednesday's date? Wednesday,
Wednesday is the 25th.
June
I
25th.
was about to say 26th, then I had to correct myself.
June 25th. We will be posting this bad boy. Or I should be at that point. Maybe the 26th, but hopefully the 25th. But one thing I'll steal from Jeremy is the finisher here. The finisher.
Now, is this the kind of finisher that actually finishes the opponent, or is this one of those, fake finishers where the guy kicks out and then, continues to fight for another 10 minutes?
I'm in the realistic area of trying to finish it with the first move, the first real finisher.
Well, that would be a welcome change.
Yes, it would be. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast, our little shindig of a show that we call a podcast or whatever the hell we do. But with that being said, we will talk to you later, and I hope you finished with us.